Hello and welcome back to another episode of the SportsRunDown Betalong. How are you getting on tonight, guys?
Yeah, good, LB.
Watching the show, I see.
Yeah.
Tuned in early.
Yeah, eager. Well, anyone who's watching us, thanks for tuning in. Anyone who's familiar with the show will know what we do. Every Friday night we get together, we put on a few live games, we bet on them, we talk about them, and then you share your bets in the comments and we'll chat away about the bets that you have and that we have. So that's the format of the show. And before we dive into any of the details, I think we need to get one bet out in the open here because Slats has picked a 7:30 game and we don't want to be accused of any after time in here. And knowing the Bundesliga, there could be goals any stage. So Slats, what's your bet there?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be pretty happy if we do get an early goal in. I don't think it's going to come that quickly. But yeah, like you said, it's in the Bundesliga. It's the Munich game. I was talking to you lads about how I like backing an away favourite, or not just backing an away favourite, but I like the value you can get on away favourites. So like the bet I'm going with is for both teams to score. Augsburg at home against Munich. Augsburg are in 16th. Munich top of the table, obviously. If you look at Munich's recent wins, like 5-2, 5-1, 3-1, 4-1, that's their last four away results. So, you know, they've conceded in all four of them, but they just massively outscore the opposition rather than, you know, focusing on trying to keep a clean sheet or anything. Augsburg have pretty decent stats at home. They've 16 goals in their last 10 home games, and they've scored in 8 of those 10. So, you know, they've no problem scoring at home. Can't see them getting a result against Munich. I think in the last 12 head-to-heads, they've like 2 draws, and Munich have won 10 of them. So I'm not expecting any sort of result. But all I need to do is get them on the scoreboard. Munich are 1-7 for the win, but the win with both teams scoring is 6-5. So it's just a huge swing in value if you take on that likelihood of Augsburg getting a goal there. So that's the bet.
I really like that one. And like you said, that the increase in the odds is just, you know, even a deflection or a header from a corner or something like that. You're nearly getting even money on that part alone. So
yeah, that's it exactly. Yeah, the both teams, the score element of it is just so good. And just looking at the stats, like I said, I mean, Munich are conceding. You know, you kind of might associate Munich with a solid defense and, you know, plenty of 2-0, 3-0 wins. And, you know, they are doing that at home a bit, but on the road, they just seem to concede a lot more often than they don't. So
yeah, I think a few years ago, like a bet like this probably wouldn't have had a chance because Munich were so dominant. But it seems to have leveled out in recent years, especially in the league. They take their eye off the ball. Like they're still kind of, you know, a quality outfit in the Champions League and things like that. But they seem to take their eye off the ball a little bit in the league sometimes. So fingers crossed that happens now, especially after an international break as well.
I was thinking about the international break too, and I think that could kind of swing in favor of this bet that, you know, they'll be kind of all guns blazing, but, you know, mightn't be that tight at the back either. And again, like conceding a goal seems, you know, pretty likely. Definitely a reasonable shout.
Yeah, I really like that one. So to anyone who's not watched the show before or not familiar with what we do, we have what we call the live action ACCA. So Slats' bet there is the first of 3 legs, and we have a treble on tonight. So it's that. I have a bet in Belgium and Gary has a bet in the EFL. And the 3 of those combined, I think it's about 7-1 this week. So we've backed that ourselves. We've put a tenner on it, and we'll give the winning prize. I mean, if the bet wins, we'll give the winnings to the most engaged kind of commenter across our 3 streams, so YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We don't really have any kind of rule what that'll be, just the best comment or the most comments or the most flattering comments maybe. So get commenting, let us know what you're watching and what you're betting, and we'll share this bet on, and we'll give you the money if the bet comes in.
We do love a compliment here on SportsRunDown, though.
Yeah, well, what's rare is wonderful, is what they say. We'll go to you first, Gary, if you want. Your EFL bet, you've got a League One for us tonight, or Championship game for us tonight.
Yeah, Championship, yeah. So I'm really looking forward to this game, actually. I'll be watching here live. It's QPR versus Luton. So Luton, not that far outside of London. Not classed as a derby game, but you could really class it as a derby game. These 2 sets of fans are really passionate. So if it was on tomorrow, I'd definitely be going to the game. Obviously tonight I have this stream that I couldn't miss, so can't get there. But yeah, definitely looking forward to watching it. From a betting perspective, I picked out QPR to win a 5-4. QPR is 6th in the league. They've been really good at home this season. They've only lost once. They have a lot of attacking threat. A little bit of a kind of a recent blip on that front. They've been, just scoring the odd goal here and there. but the firepower they have in their squad is like one of the best kind of attacking forces in the league, with the likes of Lyndon Dykes, Andre Gray, Charlie Austin, even though he's getting a little bit old at this stage of his career, but he's still at this level a pretty good striker. Luton are in 11th. They're really good at Kenilworth Road, so really good at home, but they've only won twice on the road this season. I think QPR to win is a great bet here. I also, again, the stats didn't back it up, and especially with QPR's recent little blip in goal scoring, I left the over 2.5 out of our all action ACCA because obviously want that to win so we can give away the money on the show. But I have backed it myself. So I've done 2 bets. I've done our bet at 7-1 with QPR in there. And I've also done the treble with QPR to win and over 2.5 goals. And that bumps it up to around 13-1, I think it was. So yeah, QPR to win is the bet for me, but the over 2.5 goals aspect is a little bit of a kicker for anybody who likes that extra bit of juice in their bets.
I like the extra bit of juice in the bet for sure.
I was just going to say the same. I would be getting on the over 2.5.
Yeah. So the third leg of the bet is my own one here. It's a regular now on the Friday show is Club Brugge from Belgium, but they're back on tonight. They're away to Mechelen in the Belgian First Division A. There's a lot of bets in this game that really stand out to me. I mean, my favourite, Mr. Varnikin to score. He's 5-2 tonight. I've actually backed that. But the official bet for the treble is both teams to score here. It's 4-6. It's actually drifted out to a little bit since then. It's just Bruges, like you said about Munich earlier on, Slats. Bruges just aren't there. Oh, sorry, Gary. They're not their usual selves. They're conceding an awful lot more goals than they ever used to. And we've talked about it a few times this season. They sold their star centre back to the Bundesliga last summer, and they're still doing well. They'll probably still win the league, but they're conceding more than they ever did before. Over 2.5 is 4-6 as well. I was tempted between the two of them, but if you look at Bruges' results, they've had a lot of 1-1 draws, and especially away. So I'm quite happy to take the both teams to score here. And since we actually put the bet out, Bruges have actually drifted a bit. So I think it must have been a couple of players not starting from the international break. Not a huge distance, but from 1 to 2 out to 8 to 11. So that, you know what I mean, there's a fairly good bit of money gone on to Mechelen there. So I'm kind of happy with the both teams to score, because obviously if you're looking for over 2.5, you'd be expecting a comfortable Bruges win. Over 2.5 and both teams to score it was evens. It's now 8 to 11 as well. That's actually tightened up. So again, I think the expectation is there that Mechelen are probably more likely to score than they would have been presumed to earlier in the week. I still like the score draw here at 4-1 as well. Both teams score, both teams concede. I think Bruges have scored in every single game so far. They've conceded in maybe all but 2. And then Mechelen have scored in 7 of their last 8. And if they're going to concede against anybody, it's going to be Bruges. So I think it's a very good game for goals. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bruges had a little bit of a struggle here as well. So that's the bet there, and it rounds out that treble.
Seems a pretty solid treble, but I just wanted to go back to your Vanaken bet. Is his scoring form still as good as it was like 2 weeks ago? Remember we were looking, he had crazy stats.
The last 2 weeks haven't been great for him, but I mean with the international break, of course, there hasn't been that many games. But no, he hasn't continued on the rate he started the season at.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I suppose he was never going to, realistically. Like
the weight of our money on him basically crushed the season.
Yeah. He heard we were talking about him. If you look at the market though, he's about 8th or 9th in that market for goals. There's no shots. Unfortunately, there's no shots on target market tonight on Betfair for this game. So obviously not big enough, but I would back him for shots for sure, but I still think they treat him as a midfielder or something like that, because he doesn't seem to get. I mean, he's centre forward for Bruges, who are the odds-on favourites in this game, and he's still quite a good bit down the price. So yeah, I've got him in another bet that I have to score anytime at 5-2, which I think is a great price for anyone on that Bruges team, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 5-2 is huge for their. I mean, he's still their top goal scorer this season, is he?
Yeah.
And especially in a division like that where goals can go in at any moment, really. So
we've seen a lot of late goals in Belgium,
Yeah, I kind of like the look of 2 or more at 14-1 as well. Just the absolute greed factor.
Yeah. Oh, for him to score 2 or more.
Yeah, 14-1. It just
We're about 7 minutes into the show, and we've already resorted to the greed factor. Can tell us it's going to be a good night.
Yeah.
Low stake, but high odds. That's my goal.
Yeah. I'm always a sucker for those as well. You're looking at the shots, and he's 10 to 11 for one shot, 5 to 1 for two, and then he's like 33 to 1 for three, and you go, has to be worth it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hop into the exchange and have a look, because sometimes you do just get, at odds like that. He could be 14 to 1 on the sports book, but he could be out at like 25 to 1 on the exchange. There can be a big disparity in those types of odds, I find. So I'm just gonna hop in. I'll let you know if it's worth kind of having a look there.
Yeah.
We've had our first bit of engagement of the night, guys. So isn't the type of engagement that I like now, but it's an entry into the competition nonetheless. So James McCann has just commented in asking, am I on the sunbeds, and with a hashtag engagement. The answer to that question is no. It must just be the lighting in the room here. But thanks for the comment nonetheless, James.
Not
a like winning comment.
No, definitely not winning the prize with a comment like that.
Yeah.
You do have a tendency, Gary.
You lads against me, so you never know.
Yeah.
Well, it's the only engagement so far too, so we need a bit more to put in.
Do you remember that race in the Olympics? I don't know, was it like 3 Olympics ago, and some fellow who could barely swim and everybody else got disqualified? Do you remember that guy? That'll be like that comment there.
Was it Eric the Eel or something like that?
Yeah, like that was his name, yeah. I feel like I could have swam it faster. Just kicking off here now in Belgium. The players are standing up.
Yeah, so are you watching in the Bundesliga or
not yet? But I should be able to get it up on screen. Yeah,
he's waiting for Bayern to score a couple of goals before he'll bother turning it on.
Yeah.
There hasn't been much action yet. Like, there's only one shot off target from Munich in the first 13 minutes. But hopefully it'll pick up shortly. I'm still just kind of scanning what's out there for tonight. I was having a look at a few of the Eerste Divisie games in the Netherlands. So once I kind of settle down a bit and have my bets picked out, I'll flick on the Munich game and see how that's looking. So
I have a juicy one, and I'll just call it out before the game. Actually, there's the 60 minutes. I thought it was a 7:45 kickoff, but in the Lille Monaco game, I've done a fairly juicy bet that I'm looking forward to.
I already want to be part of this bet now. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah. So those who kind of follow us regularly and follow the website regularly know that we have a League One expert in Dermot. He's been on fire this season. So literally probably about 5 minutes before we came on air, Dermot sent us a text saying he fancied Pavlovic to score anytime in this game, and I went in and I was going to back him to score anytime, and then I had a look at the shots on target market, and he was 14 to 1 to score, or to have 2 shots on target. So I couldn't turn that down. If Dermot fancies him to score, he's obviously fond of a shot. I don't know much about it now. I'm just purely going on Dermot's text.
I'm purely going on what you're saying, so I don't know. But I'm getting on that shots bet.
A player I do know about is Jonathan David, and he actually featured on one of my bets the last time we were on the stream, and he landed the money. I think it was a second half bet. It was at decent odds for us. So I put him in as well for 2 shots on target. Also, Lille to win the game and over 10.5 corners. It's 280 to 1, so the tenner on that it'll be a good weekend if it can come in. But at the 14 to 1 about Pavlovic seems to be the top bet, and I said we can give Dermo a big pat on the back if that comes up. So
yeah, I'm going to get on that bet myself now as well.
I'm going to just double up that Pavlovic bet with your Bruges buddy LB.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that as well myself. The FOMO is strong tonight. While you were talking about that, the French football, Gary, we've got it up on the screen. Dermo's, I think it's a treble he has this week. So as you mentioned, he's our League One expert. He's ridiculous at how good he's been at picking results this season in French football. He's on a ridiculous roll. His P&L, I don't know what the exact number is, but his P&L is really impressive. So you'd be wise to track his bets. And he's got a treble up for us this weekend. So tomorrow is Reims against Montpellier. He's looking at a home win there. Possibly a high-scoring affair, and he really likes it. He makes a great case for it. I think that the form that Rouen are in is just, I think it's the best form in France at the minute, especially at home. They beat Lyon 4-1 last week, and Dermo even reckons that scoreline actually flattered Lyon, which is hard to believe considering it was 4-1. So that's the first leg of his treble win and over 2.5 goals. There's another home win in Strasbourg against Reims. Strasbourg are 8th, and their home form is why they're doing so well. I think they have the most goals of any team at home so far, which when you consider the attacking talent in France, that's quite a statement. By the way, I just kind of got distracted there. Mechelen have scored in Belgium, but I think it's going to be ruled out for offside. No, ruled out.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
it looks like it's been.
Yeah, he was offside. I was just thinking of my friend. Yeah, I was exactly what you want, the underdog to score. But then
you can just see like the wheel in your head stop going as the goal went in. Like, yeah, that really a goal after 2 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, oh god, this would be perfect. And then the third leg he has in France is both teams to score in Brest against Lens. So he's got there's a few great phrases on the website this week. Your headline, Gary, and Enzo's headline are both pretty interesting. And Dermo's managed to get in you wait for a bus for ages and then 2 come along at once, which I never thought I'd ever read in a football article, but he got it in there. Brest hadn't won a game all season, and then they won 2 on the bounce, and they're looking pretty impressive. Very, very, very solid wins there. One against Monaco, and I forget the second one. And then, yeah, Lens are kind of the sort of form team outside of the top few. They're the best of the rest, as Dermo describes them. So he really likes both teams to score here. I think 12 out of the 13 games Brest have been in this season have had both teams to score. So it looks like a great one there, just inside even. So his treble is 13-2 at Bet365. Looks like a great one. And like we said, he's landed a couple of accolades this season on French football. So definitely worth getting on that.
Yeah, it sounds good. I had to read through that last night. I actually backed it straight after I read it. So looking forward to cheering that action in over the weekend.
I better write down myself to back it because I have such a habit of not backing.
Those games are all Sunday, right?
No, there's a game tomorrow.
Game
tomorrow and then 2 games Sunday. But the game on Sunday is like a 12 p.m. kickoff. There's a couple of those where I've missed the first leg and I've like, I'll just back the double tomorrow. And then, you're just busy. You wake up and you're like, 1 o'clock, look at it. And the game is over. You're like, oh, no way. So, the minute I read it last night, I was like, I'm just putting that bet on so I don't have FOMO over the weekend when everybody's cheering and I haven't got it back. So
I've had a few of those where I, don't put the bet on. And then I'm out during the day on Saturday and I pick up my phone and our chat for the website has got like 42 messages. And you're just like, this is not going to be good. You're like, another 14-1 winner. And I'm just like fake celebrating. Oh, great. Patting myself on the back, even though I wasn't soul destroying. But this game, by the way, I said it at the start that Bruges had drifted quite a bit. I mean, still odds on, but from 1-2 to 8-11 is, is a significant drift in a football match. Mechelen are all over them here at the start. And I really wouldn't be surprised if they were to score. I do think I'm really happy with the both teams to score here because Bruges, they never give up and they're kind of bastards really if you're not a fan of them. So the both team score is looking good, but I wouldn't put anybody off back in Mechelen. They've gone from 4-1 to 10-3 here, so they're the odds have adjusted as well. So I presume there's a bit of money got on them, and like we saw pre-match as well, there was money there. So
did you mention the score draw in the ACA article? That'll be what odds was that again?
4-1.
4-1, yeah.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling, just the way you outlined the game and how you could see it going, and that Bruges, haven't been winning it all around them, that they do have plenty of draws lately. Just seems
I think 7 games
there
this season, and it's only 13 or 14 into the league. Maybe a bit higher in Belgium, maybe 16 into the league. They've had 7 score draws, Bruges, which is crazy, really.
Yeah, and we watched the game recently. They were very open at the back. And I even they're just watching their games in Europe and stuff. They've just been very open as well. So it definitely has a chance. Just have a couple more comments in on YouTube. So
one of them there. Yeah.
Pete is basically his first time on the YouTube channel. We normally watch on Facebook, so keep welcome to YouTube. Thanks for the comment. He's saying it must have been warm in Paris last weekend, so obviously heard me saying that last weekend. It actually wasn't. It was fairly cold, but I must get the lighting sorted in this room, so I'm not getting so much abuse next week. And then
I think it's the neon lights, Gary, that are causing you the problem.
Yeah. And then Rachel Holmes has said that she thinks that'll be 1-1 in the QPR game. So she's going against my recommendation of a QPR win. But the way this first 5 minutes of the game has gone, that could be a decent shout. Luton have had 2 great opportunities. The keeper made a great save, and there was one, it wasn't cleared off the line, but it was like there was no goalkeeper in the goal, and the defender stopped it at about the penalty spot, blocked it at about the penalty spot. So Luton definitely could have been 1-0 up. It's a fairly open start, but yeah, that 1-1 mightn't be a bad shout, even though we're all cheering on the QPR victory, Rachel. So
they're pretty close in the table, aren't they? There's only like 2 places or something between them.
No, so there's 2 points, but if you just glanced at the table, you'd see 6th versus 11th. Like 6th are obviously going to win. Do you know, that way it's just human nature. But there's actually only 2 points separating them, given how condensed the championship is. I mean, the championship from about 4th down to 16th is separated by, I'd say, 7 or 8 points. Like, do you know, that way. Yeah.
I'm just looking. It's halftime in the Netherlands here, and 4 of the games. How many games is there? 9 or 10. 4 of them are still 0-0, and of those 4, like 3 of them I had kind of earmarked for goals for both teams to score. And there was plenty of shots in those 3 games in the first half. I'm tempted to do a treble. It just feels a bit ambitious to do a treble of both teams to score in the second half. Like, you know what I mean? 6 different teams scoring. I might go for something. Yeah, I was maybe over 1.5 goals in each game or something like that. But yeah, I'm very tempted by the both teams to score. And there's nothing. I mean, the stats, like all 6 teams have had a few shots on target anyway. Just looking at Bet365 here. So yeah, I'm gonna have a look at the odds and see what I can come up with. But it's another 5 or 10 minutes to the second half. We'll be kicking off.
Nice.
Well, I mean to interrupt you, lads, but anybody see me giving a fist pump there? Augsburg have just taken the lead over Munich.
Oh, lovely.
Sweet.
That's unreal for the bet.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, 23 minutes in, and like Munich are 1-0 down, but they're still 8-15. So that's just a perfect start for the bet. So yeah.
So for anyone who joined us a bit late, Slats has tipped up Bayern Munich to win and both teams to score in the Bundesliga tonight as part of our 7-1. We bet Munich win treble.
Munich were 1-7 to win before kickoff. So really, the 6-5 odds available on it, a huge amount of that was just down to the both teams scoring element of the bet, and you know we're already looking good there with Augsburg taking that lead. And like you said, Gary, Munich are still well odds on for the win. So that's all we need now. Like if they can go on and win the game, that's in the bag.
Yeah, it's just that the Mechelen goal wasn't allowed, because otherwise we'd be in a really, really good position early on. But still a great start for the bets all around.
Yeah, we'd be laughing if that goal had been allowed. Looking at the replay, it was legitimately offside. So
I think there was 2 of them offside, Albie.
They were both offside. Yeah,
yeah.
It's still all pretty much Mechelen. Brugge had a kind of a dangerous free kick, but it came to nothing. And other than that, it's been all the yellow reds, as they call themselves. So still happy about this one here.
Does that nickname translate better in French or Dutch or whatever?
Dutch, but well, not the way I would say it anyway. In Dutch, it would sound like someone trying to cough. But
just in English, it just sounds a bit hammy, like the yellow reds.
Yeah, it's like all the Italian teams as well, like Roma, the Giallo Rossi. It's the same thing, the yellow reds, and it looks great or sounds great when you see it in Italian.
Yeah, it is good in Italian. Yeah.
Yeah, although Italian is slightly easier on the ER language now than Flemish. So
yeah, it actually probably look worse than yellow reds and Flemish, like.
Yeah.
Another comment in on YouTube from Darren Healy, and this is a bit of a controversial one now, so we need to get ourselves set for this. But he's saying Dermo's been on fire with his tips, but which one of us 3 has been giving out dud tips recently? So I don't know. One of you want to go first, or do you want me to take it first?
I just invite Darren to go to the website and read through and make up his own mind on that. I don't think we need to dive into who's giving out the worst tips now.
No, well, I'd say, like, LB, you have to give yourself a pat on the back for your recent college football form. Like, what are you, 13-5 or something like that in the last couple of weeks? Or
12-3.
12-3 in the last couple of weeks. So for any tipster to be, especially a free tipster to be, 12-3, is an unbelievable record. So I don't think we can be putting you in that category. I do up 2 columns for the site. So I do up an EFL column, which has had 2 ACCAs land this season at 12 and 14 to 1. So I don't think that can go in there either. So I think we're going to have to put my NFL down as being probably the worst performer this season. That's all going to change next week with Thanksgiving. We've got a big show planned on Tuesday for Thanksgiving. But the last couple of weeks in the NFL have been really tough to predict. And the bets have flopped a little bit recently there. But as I said, we're on the comeback trail next week for Thanksgiving. So tune in Tuesday, Darren, and we'll guarantee a few winners for the NFL.
Yeah. Exactly, Gary. And by all means, Darren, if you want to start contributing a few tips as well, we'd love to get you involved. Get a few of those hot ones up there.
Sorry, Albie, just as I was talking there, QPR have gone 1-0 up.
Brilliant.
Nice.
So the bet is looking extremely good so far, which is really nice. So hopefully a few viewers managed to get on. And remember, if you didn't get on the bet before the show, you can still cheer it in with us. So anybody who comments in throughout the night will go into kind of a draw. It's not even a draw, it's just whoever we pick. So it could be the most engagement, best question, best compliments throughout the night. And if our bet lands, we'll just give away the money. So is it 70 quid or 80 quid this week?
I think it's 70.
It said 70 in the article, but it's a 7-1 shot. So, I mean...
Yeah, we normally give away the stake.
We give away the stake as well, usually. Yeah,
it's 80 quid. Say 80. So if you want to win 80 quid, keep commenting away. And as I said, if the bet lands, we'll get in contact with you and we'll transfer you over the cash.
Yeah.
I've picked out a bet for the second half of the Dutch 2. So I'll just throw it out because I think one or two of those games could be kicking off soon. They shouldn't be kicking off till after 8 o'clock. But Breda versus Utrecht, I've gone for both teams to score. That's 2-1. And Dordrecht to Graafschap, I've just gone for over 1.5 goals because the Graafschap could just push on and win that 2-0. Wouldn't be that surprising, but I definitely expect a couple of second half goals there. And then Almere City, who I think there's been like 25 goals in their last 5 league games. There's been 25 goals in their last 5 home games, and all 5 of those home games have been both teams scoring. So I'm going both teams to score there. It's 15-8, so that treble is paying at about 15-1. And yeah, I think it seems decent. Like, obviously they're all 0-0 at half time, and I'm looking at 6 goals and at least 5 teams scoring in the second half here. But
but of all the leagues where you
first to the yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's actually a relief that they're all 0-0 at halftime, because usually you'd be coming on saying, "Oh, I like these games for goals," but it's 3-1 and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. There was one that I couldn't believe, and I mean, I know it's after time at this stage, but Den Bosch were 17-10 to just win. They're at home to Os. Like, Den Bosch have won 4 of their last 5 games. Os have lost. I don't think Os have won a game in their last 12. I think they've something like 9 losses and 3 draws. And the head-to-head between them, Den Bosch had won 4 out of the last 5 games between them. Just one of those ones where all the stats just point to.
Why am I only hearing about this now? Why did we not hear
Because it went 1-0. It went 1-0 before we got on air. These games kicked off at 7 o'clock, and it went 1-0 after 6 minutes. So 7:05.
I think we need to write a strongly worded letter to the Dutch Football Association, just being put these games back.
Yeah.
So you had both teams to score in the Breda Utrecht game. You had 1.5 into Graafschap, is it?
Yeah, that's it.
And then what was it? The Almere bet?
Both teams to score in the Almere game as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the Almere game, I mean, it's 0-0, but there was like Almere had 4 shots with 2 on target. Maastricht had 7 with 1 on target in the first half. So there was plenty of action from both sides. That I'd nearly be most confident about that, and I think it was nearly 2-1 for both.
Yeah, it's 15-8 here. So it's 8-11 for 1.5, but 15-8 for both teams to score seems like a bit of a discrepancy as well.
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah, which I mean, yeah, Almere are still odds on to win that game. Like, Maastricht have been pretty bad, but Almere just concede almost every game, so it certainly wouldn't be a surprise. definitely seems better value to go for that option.
Yeah, 15-1 treble there. Very nice. We've had a few huge in-play bets land on the show this season. 7-1 doubles, 12-1 trebles. We had a 40-1 treble as well. So
I'm still trying to get over the 40-1 treble that I didn't get on, and you lads did. So
inexplicably didn't.
I know, yeah. You know, you're sitting here with a full account, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to back." It was actually just my loyalty to Enzo, so I need to take that up with Enzo. Probably. Yeah. So keep watching out in play. As I said, sometimes, you know, it is betting at the end of the day. So sometimes our live action hacking mightn't be going too well. We'll be searching all of the markets. We're watching the games here. So I'm currently watching 2 games at the minute. See how they go, and then we'll put a few bets on in play as well. So hang about, look out for a bit of value, and follow us in. Just had a comment in from Philip Clark, which is the first comment on Facebook tonight. And there's been a lot of viewers on Facebook so far tonight, so this is the first comment that's surprising. People are obviously shy. But Philip's asking what our banker of the weekend is on the horses. So I know we have a section coming up on that later on, LB. So Philip, probably watch until half time in the games, probably about 8:30 UK time. And we'll go on to just a short section on the horses for the weekend. We have a good offer from one of our friends at the bookmakers that we partner with here. So we will walk you through that as well.
Speaking of the live matches, that's a good point, Gary. We will get into the horse racing at halftime. And you're on a great roll with the horse racing this season as well, so well worth sticking around for that. In the League of Ireland Premier Division, so obviously I'm personally very interested in making sure Waterford survive, but the other game of note to me is Finn Harp, so that's the other relegation kind of battle. And just was watching the odds there. I don't have it on, Finn Harps versus Longford, and it just went suspended, and then all the markets just went closed, and then now the pages disappeared. Never seen that before. I mean it
it's
like
usually
still on.
The match is, yes, like, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, you know, the over 0.5 goes suspended, closed, and then disappears once there's a goal. It was like that, but it was all the markets. Very strange. Don't know why they. I don't know. Don't really know what happened. But,
yeah. So sometimes if they don't have someone in the ground, you can't get their odds at all. But I've never seen it just disappear. So maybe
it was about at least 7 minutes into the game, or 6 minutes into the game, I'd say. So
I'll have a look online and see if I can see anything.
Breda scored there in the 46th minute, so that treble is off to a good start.
Very good.
Yeah, they were favourites for that game anyway, but still gives plenty of time for Utrecht to come back at them and score. And yeah, like Utrecht have scored, I think, in their last 12 straight away games, which is a pretty impressive stat in any league, even in Dutch too. But hopefully they're getting the score sheet there. They've had a few chances already. Couple of shots on target, so yeah, it's a good start to that treble anyway.
Yeah, very good. There is a corner here for Mechelen in the Belgium game. This is at least the third, if not fourth, really good counter-attack Mechelen have had, and Brugge are just, like you said it, Gary, we've seen them a few times. They love to play on a Friday, and they're just so open when they lose the ball. The defender got ahead of the striker there, racing back for the kind of long ball over the top, and I think he tried to pass it back to the keeper, ended up just sort of side-footing it wide. So it's a corner now and a long-distance shot. Another corner. Great. Mechelen looking really good here. They're into 9-4, which considering it's 0-0 and they were 4-1 at kickoff, that is quite the tightening.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Augsburg have just gone up 2-0. Which isn't great for the bet. They get their goal for us. We didn't want them to get any more.
It's like that corner in Belgium can't be that bad. Like, what's it?
Yeah.
That's not.
Again, I just saw it went suspended, and I was just like, "Oh, cool! Munich have scored here," and I was hopping in to see the goal and
starting to celebrate. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're getting.
There's still plenty of time in that game, though. Still wouldn't count it out yet, but we need Munich to get the finger out, obviously.
If there's any team in the world that you want to be backing when they're 2-0 down, it's probably Bayern Munich, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they're not even 2-1 to go on and win from here. It's
I prefer it when it was 4-7, though, to be honest, lads.
It's gone suspended here again. I wonder.
Hopefully it gets ruled out, and then that just crushes Augsburg and they just get stuffed in.
Yeah, it didn't look with anything. No, it's back again. Yeah, it didn't look like there was anything wrong with it. But yeah, we could do it. I mean, there's 10 minutes left in the first half. We could do it. Munich getting one back before half time.
Lille have just scored, gone 1-0 up against Monaco 6 minutes in. So big shout out to Dermot, our French football expert there. He did send a last minute text before the game kicked off as soon as he saw the team sheets and said make sure to pile on to Lille to win that game or even draw. They're still 11-10 to win, 1-0 up here. And Monaco have only gone out as far as 5-2. So obviously that's the bookie sticking with the pre-game odds there as opposed to adapting. So
yeah,
great
even
insight
better there, LB, is that John got the goal. So
he scored it, really lovely.
Yeah, so that's one of his 2 shots on target that I need in. So decent start to that 280 to 1 shot, but long way to go, obviously, still.
I didn't get it on in time, and I'm just going to be ill when that comes in now. I'll be delighted for you, but like that WhatsApp face where the guy is crying and smiling at the same time. Congratulations. Do you have Lille to win in that, do you, Gary?
I've Lille to win over 10.5 corners. David for Lille to have 2 shots on target, and Pavlovic for Monaco to have 2 shots on target.
Pavlovic got a yellow card 3 minutes in, which is probably the only negative to that bet so far. But
he's going to try and prove a point now. And
yeah, hopefully that's the case. Yeah,
just means you won't be taking his shirt off when he scores 2 goals.
Munich just scored.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, nice. Gets it back to a little bit of a more of a comfort level.
Oh, definitely. Actually, 2-1 is probably better than 1-0 because
I agree.
Up and running. Yeah. You know, you see these Bundesliga. I don't watch much Bundesliga, I must admit, but you see the results, and there's a load of like 5-3s and stuff like that. You think, how did they happen? But now we're seeing it.
Well, I ran through those Munich games, like the last 4 away matches included a 5-2. I think, and that was league games. I think the last Champions League game they won 5-2 as well. And yeah, a few 4-1s as well in there, like crazy scores. Yeah. So this looks like it could end up one of those, assuming that Munich go on to win it here. It's going to be a
Mechelen
game anyway.
I'm sorry, just while you were talking there, lads, Lille have gone 2-0 up, and David got the second.
No way.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So Pavlovic in the corners is what's outstanding there. So, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Pretty happy with that start. 7 minutes in, and Lille are in a good position to win the game. David has his 2 shots on target, so
excellent. Yeah, I mean, you would take the 2 goals ahead of 2 corners anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not going to cash out, but I'll be interested to see. Still suspended at the minute. Doesn't look like it'll be disallowed, but I'm interested to see what the cash out will be when it gets back to normal.
Mechelen just had a 3-on-2 right on the edge of the box. The Bruges lost the ball, playing it out from the back. Really good chance to score, and they tried to get too clever with it. Ended up just basically passing it to the keeper. Bruges raced down the other end. They had a 3-on-1, and then I didn't see which Mechelen player just had to haul the guy down and take his yellow card. So Mechelen are getting a lot of chances here, just needing to take one sooner rather than later.
Maastricht just got a goal as well, so I have that Dutch 2 treble on, and I need both teams to score in the Almere City Maastricht game. I was only saying that Almere are they were odds-on favourites even going into the second half. So definitely, it's another one of those where the underdog has got the goal. You'd be more confident now that Almere will push on and score themselves.
Yeah, exactly what you want.
So that's 2 good goals, and then the Graafschap, we don't need both teams to score. Oh, and it's goal to Graafschap, they just scored, so there's a goal in each of those games now. That's looking pretty solid. It's only like 7 minutes into the second half in each of those, and there's been a goal in each.
Yeah.
So, and it's well, it would have been good if Utrecht scored. Breda are favourites there, but definitely Maastricht scoring, and the other game is only over 1.5, so it doesn't matter who scores.
Nice. We've commented on Facebook from Aoife, so where do we think Bows are going to finish in the League of Ireland? It's the last game today, and they are currently 5th, losing. They're 1-0 down. I think the highest they can finish is 4th. I think there's a bit of a gap between themselves and Derry and Sligo, so if they win, they'll finish 4th, potentially, and if they lose, they'll finish 5th. I don't think they can go any lower than that. Maybe they can drop if Dundalk score. A lot of permutations there, but yeah, I'd say it'll probably be 4th or 5th the way this is looking tonight.
Yeah, Sligo were actually a decent bet today. given that Bohs are playing in the cup final next week. So I was thinking a lot of players wouldn't want to get injured for that. As a Shells fan, that cup final is going to be torturous because it has to be either St. Pat's or Bohs lifting the trophy. As you see, if I said, come on, the Bohs there now, it's not in me to cheer for either team. So I'll be hoping the match gets abandoned.
Well, what you were saying, Sligo are 5 points ahead of fourth and 5 points below second. I mean, they can't go anywhere, so they could just be kind of switched off for that game, could they? Would that be a bit of a risk?
You never know last game of the season what people will be up to. We've got a comment in on Facebook from Dave Nev. Back of the net, come on, Slats is treble. So yeah, plenty of goals going in there in the Netherlands, so very happy with that as well. I'm on that myself, Slats, by the way, so I'm not sure if I said it, but I don't want to be saying it afterwards.
Yeah, I missed it, so it's definitely going to come in.
Worry about it. You'll be sitting there and you're 280 to 1 winner now, and I won't even be talking about my measly 15. I'll just leave it on the table. Still end to end here in Belgium. It's no goals, but plenty of action. So,
and sorry, we actually missed a comment from Keith on YouTube there. So Keith saying it's the Scottish League Cup semi-finals this weekend. He's going to do Celtic and Hibs, but he's saying any help with a bet builder. So Keith, we like the Scottish League is one of the leagues we don't cover here, and we don't really give out tips or advice on leagues that we don't really know much about. So Slats follows Belgium and Dutch football fairly closely. We've got obviously League One, Serie A, EFL experts and stuff. So we try to avoid that. So if I'm being honest, wouldn't really have a clue. But the Celtic Hibs double probably looks like a decent bet, so I'll probably just stick to that.
I just know Celtic are one of those ACCA killers. You back them to be, I don't know, half-time, full-time, or one of those sort of bets, back them -1 or back them with over 2.5 goals. They've killed me in a lot of accumulators in the past, so I tend to just avoid them altogether.
Yeah, no matter what I back.
Like that,
But even whatever I back in Celtic games doesn't happen. Like back goals, they win 2-0. Back both teams to score, they win 3-0. It just doesn't matter what bet I put on. It just doesn't happen. So yeah, I think we had them in the Europa League earlier in the season, and they were 3-0 up at half time and lost 5-3 or something like that. It's like
that was unbelievable. It was away from home as well. They were playing a Spanish team, right?
They were.
They were away from home.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Great
money at half time.
Yeah, I was spending it, and then saw the scoreline. I thought it was going dyslexic or something.
We're one step closer to this Dutch treble. Utrecht scored, so both teams have scored in that match. It's only 57 minutes, so that came in pretty quickly. Graafschap still up 1-0. Any goal there will get that one in for us. And then Almere, favourites to win that match, are down 1-0, so we need them to score, and that will come in. So looking pretty solid there now.
Yeah, that's class.
Keep that on that one. Munich game, I've just gone back. There's a bit of a ruckus between the players. It's gone suspended, but I didn't see what happened. If I had to say, I'd say the Augsburg players looked the ones more pissed off, more
aggrieved.
Aggrieved, that's the word for it.
Oh, here's a great ball into the... Oh, well cleared.
They're the ones who got the yellow card, so I'll see what happened. Maybe they were appearing more aggrieved to try and switch the referee's opinion. It actually a yellow card for both sides, so just a bit of a scrap, I'd say. But it'll probably show a replay here now. Yeah, they were just squaring up to each other face to face. Nothing in it really. In fairness,
go ahead.
Neither of them went down rolling around on the ground or anything. They were just squaring off, and I don't know how it kicked into a lot of players.
Of all the major leagues, the Bundesliga does seem to have the least of that messing around, So the rare times I do watch it, you don't see a huge amount of diving or playing up. So
yeah, I don't think the fans really would kind of stick for that or whatever. Yeah, it's just it's not really the done thing in Germany like it is in Spain or Italy.
Yeah, or closer to home, Gary.
Yeah. we haven't said it tonight, but going by the comments, we have a lot of new viewers. So if you are watching in for the first time, you like what you're seeing, make sure to give us a like or a subscription on the relevant platform. So on Facebook and Twitter, you can like or follow the page, and on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. So every subscription matters to us, and then you'll get notifications when we do live stream. So said every Friday we're here at 7:30, but we do other shows when there's special events coming up. So Thanksgiving next Thursday, we'll be doing a preview show for that on Tuesday at 10 p.m. So I said you'll get notified when we're going live each time. So make sure to hit the relevant button.
Yeah, that's it, Gary. We really do appreciate any likes and subscriptions. It makes a huge difference to what we do here. So we'd appreciate it if you do enjoy the show, or even if you don't enjoy the show, maybe just throw us a like anyway. But the Belgium match is, I think Bruges have had 3 pretty dangerous free kicks, and I'd say that 3 of them were within a square foot of the pitch. Like I was watching thinking that this must be a replay, and then they had another one that was exactly the same again. But it just seems to be they're going down the left every time, and when they get near the Mechelen box, they just are fouled, or in the last case, bought a foul. So still very open, a lot of kind of counter-attacking from Bruges, but no goals yet.
Be nice to get one in before half-time, but
yeah, big time.
Yeah, the Munich game has gone to half-time, by the way. It remained 2-1. But, Munich are evens to go on and win the game. The bet we got Munich to win and both teams to score was 6-5. So, we're still in the green on that bet. We're still more likely to win than we were at kickoff.
Yeah, definitely. And if Munich score any time kind of before the 75th minute or whatever, you'd still be fairly comfortable about it. When it starts getting to 80, you'd start fretting. But, yeah, plenty of time left.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you want them to level up around 70, 75 minutes at the latest, like any time.
I was going to say, I want to level up now.
46 minutes. Yeah.
5-2 up at half time, ideally. Big save there from Mechelen. Bruges nearly scored. And actually, I think Finn Harp scored in the League of Ireland, and then it was ruled out. They just saw the goal pop up and then vanish again. So they seem to be on top against lowly Longford.
Yeah, it's a big ask for Waterford, hoping that Longford get a result against Finn Harp, especially away from home. So
I think Longford's only result in the last 8 was against Waterford as well, which is absolutely...
That's where they kind of lost it, really, isn't it? Waterford slipping up there 2 weeks ago. Or was it
Finn
last
Harps scored there now, so that is 1-0 Finn Harps. So that's going to be close to the League of Ireland settled there. I don't know how there wasn't a goal for Bruges here. Keeper did very well. It was kind of a bobbling shot. He would never have been able to catch it the first time, and he parried it, but he was able to jump up and pounce on it again just before one of the Belgian strikers got in, or the Bruges strikers got in. So then straight down the other end, and now it's another corner to Mechelen.
Just in League One, the Monaco Lille game, there was a shout for a penalty there for Monaco, but it wasn't given. It was a bit of a dive. We're talking about diving in Germany. But just my mate Jonathan David, like unbelievable start of the game. So he's 2 goals in the bag already, 3 shots on target. So he's definitely in the mood tonight. So still plenty of time left there. I'm going to go in and have a look and see what he is to get a couple more shots, because he's getting chances all over the place.
Oh, Mechelen nearly scored again. Really good save by the keeper. Low head corner into the box, kind of bit of head tennis for a minute, and then kind of a very powerful downward header, and the keeper managed to get it before it bounced in. So a bit annoying, but yeah, Mechelen knocking on that door.
I was just going to say to Gary, it's the corners that are kind of killing you there in that game at the moment, isn't it?
It is, yeah. There's only been one corner so far.
Of all the markets though, like that one has the clusters, you know what I mean? So I'd much rather be waiting on 4 corners than a goal or even a shot, because there's a risk as well. Players get subbed off and stuff like that. So
we were watching the Ireland game last week, and there was 8 corners in the first half, and I think there was only 1 in the second. So they can just, as you say, can go in clusters like that. So
we had it in the live action NAC. I forget which game it was. There was 13 in the first half and 2 in the second half, and I'd back 3 in the second half. So, unbelievable.
That's sick.
Bruges, this game is, I'm going to have to look at the price of goals here now. Bruges nearly scored a really good counter-attack. Mechelen are getting closer and closer to our goal, and now they're taking more and more risks. and leaving themselves open. Another great save by the Mechelen keeper. He's earning
So
his.
both teams to score is 6-5, LB, and over 2.5 is 13-8.
Geez, that's 6-5. I would have hoped for a bit more drift, considering it's nearly half time. Well, it's 35 minutes in.
Yeah.
What did
So
I say?
they're obviously watching this game as well. Obviously, a big one.
The Graafschap scored again there. So we've 5 of the 6 goals needed in that Dutch treble. All we're waiting on is Almere City to score. They're at home to Maastricht. And they've had a few chances this second half. I'll be hoping to push on. It's one of those ones where it's in your favour that they're 1-0 down now. They kind of have to go for it. Really.
And the home team as well. You'd be very happy with that. You don't want, the home team are 2-0 up. The game could just be fading out,
Yeah, no, absolutely. They've scored in I think their last 10 straight home games. They've had what did I say? 25 goals in their last 5 home games. So I'm definitely expecting a few more goals there, and you'd expect they'll get one of them.
Yeah, I'm back in the first half goal here in Belgium, just outside 2-1. Just get that out there.
What's it, 10 minutes left, Gary?
I think I'll tell you on that.
Say that again, Gary?
7 minutes
Is it 10 minutes left in the half?
No, a little bit less. It's 37 on the clock. So, whatever.
If Zlatan is backing it, that means I have to tell you as well. So
way too much pressure for a bet that I only called out so in the after time. And Dormo has commented, he's actually texted in apologies that COVID. Never mind.
Bruges, just to me, they just strike me as a first half goal team. Always seem to be goals in the first half of Bruges games.
I mean, this game could easily be 2-1 to either team. The amount of chances and good saves that were made.
That's
so
actually 3.6 on the exchange.
Nice.
So and it's actually just gone up to 3.85. It's obviously drifting quick now with the
time,
because it's getting close to half time. It's like 7 minutes, then all of a sudden it's 6 minutes. I
would have checked the exchange, but for some reason I'm having a lot of problems with Betfair. I find it very, very laggy at the minute.
Really, yeah. It's been okay for me.
Yeah, I think it's very slow to load up for me, and it's actually really annoying when you have a bet on. It seems to never have the results or the scores up. The functionality has just gone really bad, I think, on it. But I backed it anyway. I got 3-1. Did you get 3-1 on that or 2-1, Abby? On the
a little bit over. 10 pays 32 or something like that, so a little bit outside 2-1.
Okay, I got 3-1 there a minute ago. So
nice. Nice.
The goal there had really put us in a good position for the All Action ACA. So again, remember, if you're watching in, anybody who comments in on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, you go into the draw to win the bet if it lands. So it's a 7-1 treble with a tenner on it. So whoever we pick out at the end of the show, if the bet lands, will win 80 quid. Call it out at the end of the show, get in contact with us, and we'll transfer it over to you. So keep commenting, keep interacting with the show, and you'll be in with a chance. Bet's going really well at the minute. So it's QPR to win. They're 1-0 up. Bayern Munich to win on both teams to score. And Augsburg are 2-1 up there, but at least the Augsburg goal is in. And then we've both teams to score in yellow-red Mechelen and Club Brugge. It's 0-0 there, but it's been wide open in the first half. And those leagues, as Slats' Dutch bet has just shown, are kind of second half leagues anyway, where a lot of the goals seem to flow. So I think it's going fairly well. The cash out is slightly in the profit at the minute on my bet here. So fingers crossed it can land.
Yeah, I'd be happy where we are at halftime. Obviously, we'd love a goal in this Belgium game before halftime, but very happy if QPR can hold on to that lead.
Yeah, I think QPR are the dodgy one, to be honest, even though they're 1-0 up, because when they go forward, they look all right, but they've been fairly shocking at the back and conceding a lot of chances. So I'd like them to go 2-0 up to have a bit of comfort. While it's 1-0, it's going to be a bit dodgy. But again, I'd rather have the goal in the bank than not. So
always the case. Yeah, but I mean, of course, you would take it if we could have had 1-0 QPR going into halftime. We would have absolutely jumped on that.
Exactly. Yeah. Hopefully they can hold out anyway.
Go on. Another good overran it. Great counter attack there from Mechelen, but as well defended in the end by Brugge. Kind of forced the guy to overrun it. But still really open here.
I'm just willing a goal on in this Almere game now, and it's suspended.
There must be a decent cash out in that, lads.
Yeah, I didn't look at it actually. I'll hop in and have a look now. It's gone suspended, and they had a corner, so I'm not able to watch it, but it could be a good sign.
Yeah, that'd be class.
Yeah, on the Bet365 animation, it's just saying Almere City substitution, and it's gone suspended. But before the substitution, it had said corner, so I'm hoping it's something to do with that. Even a penalty now at this stage would be.
Even a penalty.
They're not any sort of action in the game.
Yeah. Although,
it is. It's an Almere penalty.
Nice.
Unreal. We should call out to anyone who's watching that we have about an 80% penalty miss rate on the stream here on games we're watching. So,
it's been better this season. Although I'm going to jinx it saying that now because
why?
I don't even think it has been, Slats.
Actually, I don't think it has either.
I'd say at least 3 of the last 5 penalties that we've watched on the stream have been missed.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm just not speaking until this one's taken. Yeah. Oh my god, it's fucking missed. Oh god damn it. Why did you have to speak?
We should just be backing these to be missed.
We should. I actually
we get it so often.
We'd be retired if we did
5 offer 3-1 every time for a penalty to be missed. Once the penalty's awarded, it's something like 2-9 for it to be scored and 3-1 for it to be missed.
Yeah, it's obviously some Friday night jinx like.
God damn it. Yeah, I mean, there's still 20 minutes left there, but that would have been nice. 150 euro.
Yeah. Bruges missed a sitter as well there. Another kick in the backside.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't even considering the cash out on this at all. It's offering me 85 out of 155. Which isn't,
and how long's left?
Bad offer. And that was for 20. A tenner bet. There's just over 20 minutes. And like Almere were odds on favourites to win at half time. They were very strong. They were like 8-11 at half time at 0-0.
Yeah, I think I'd be letting it ride anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to let it run, yeah. But 82 isn't a bad cash out off a tenner.
No.
Any profit's a good profit, as they say. And then anybody watching in, if you manage to get on, obviously, Slats called that out in play. So if you manage to get on, let us know. Or if you have your own bets on, so we'll cheer on your bets as well. So let us know what you've back tonight. We can keep an eye out for them. And you never know, you might tail you in on some of them. So keep the comments coming in. And essentially it's all about us cheering together, winning together. That's why we do the We Bet You Win, where we give away the winnings if our bet lands.
I had forgotten actually when I went in to look at my cash out there because I had backed goals. I'd said to you that I fancy the goals in these games at kickoff, and all 3 of them were 0-0 at half time.
Yeah.
So before the match, I had done both teams to score. I'd done both teams to score in the Breda game, and that has come in now. I'd kind of given up on this bet. I'd done Graafschap to win and both teams to score. They're up 3-0 away, so Dordrecht could score there. And then both teams to score in the Almere game, which obviously I need for this other bet as well. So a Dordrecht goal and an Almere goal would give a pretty decent return there. The odds weren't as good on that because it was at kickoff. But it would still pay 125 on a tenner and 155 on the tenner for the halftime treble. So yeah, I must keep an eye on Dordrecht now and see if they could add to that.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah. It's gone 45 here in Belgium, and Bruges really had a good chance to score there and just kind of fluff their lines. It's really frustrating. But this game is just, it easily could have had 3 goals in that first half, if not 4. So I'm going to probably give it 5 minutes into the second half. Hopefully there's not a goal and it drifts, and then reload on goals.
It's an old chasing methodology anyway.
Yeah.
There's only a minute added on as well, which is frustrating at the end of the half. You do a bet like that, you're hoping for 3 or 4 minutes at least.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so rare you get more than a minute at halftime, and often enough there's like 0 minutes. It's just it hits the 45 and the ref just blows it up.
Yeah. Well, there's a corner here now, so
No, the Belgium game has gone to half time as far
it's
as I
gone
can
now.
see.
Oh, wasn't there? I'm watching on Betfair here in the corner. So
Must be a bit behind.
it's the joys of watching on streams.
Yeah.
So Ko Pak Gi on Facebook has commented and saying a goal. So it's obviously been a goal somewhere. Not too sure where you're talking about. So let us know which game you're looking at. I think all of our games, bar QPR, are at halftime. It's just creeping towards halftime in QPR there. So let us know which game you're talking about, Cole. Maybe he was just looking to get the winnings.
Yeah.
QPR game has gone half time there as well, still 1-0. So that's good. Bring on 3 defenders for 3 attackers now and just hold off for the whole second half. This Munich game should be kicking off again soon enough, I think. They're evens now to win. I know that's an old PK special.
Oh, yeah.
Our pal PK loves backing the favourites when they've gone behind or if they're sitting on a 0-0 and, are kind of dominating the game. Now, in fairness, they're not dominating the shot stats. They've had 77% of the possession and they're 2-1 down. So, I mean, that would be an indication that they should be, looking to kind of take a bit control of it in the second half. But I'm gonna watch that now for the second half and see if it's worth getting a bet on them there.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously going to drift as well if they don't equalise early enough. I'd say by 60 minutes you could be kind of getting, somewhere between 6-4 and 2-1 for them to win it. And obviously you have the advantage of kind of keeping it, like watching the game and seeing if there's, if they're looking good for it. So yeah, I'll let you know how that one goes. It's still, it's just kicked off now, the second half. So I'll be watching that.
4-6 in the Belgium game for 2 goals. So I'm going to give that. If that hits evens, I'm going to back it. That would be my bet there.
We have this Greyhound running shortly, don't we? I don't know if either of you are going to be able to watch that.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I can see Gary here or not, but I'll be watching that. I have my Barking Buzz app I'll be watching it on Barking Buzz on the internet, not on the app.
Just to let anyone watching know, the 3 of us and a few others just have a syndicate, a Greyhound syndicate where we each own a 10% share in this Greyhound. He's running at 8:45 in 10 minutes, so we'll just be keeping an eye. Hopefully he can get a win for us. He hasn't got any lately anyway, has he?
Oh, we do find with the with some of these kind of lower level Greyhound races that you actually it's only it's kind of tote, so you don't even know what the odds are going to be before he goes off. There's not even really a guide price, and the price jumps around like mad beforehand, which I find a little bit difficult.
Yeah, the liquidity is so low, like prior to the race, that any sort of betting in advance of it just shifts the odds massively. Yeah,
it's weird. There's six dogs here, evens, 6-4, 7-4, and then there's a 15-1, and then 2 not even priced up. So very strange.
I've switched on this Munich game now in the second half, and I only saw one Munich attack, but they were attacking with that sort of vigor of a team who have about 5 minutes left to score a goal and need it. You know what I mean? Like they just looked to be, they had about 5 players around the opposition box just like running, just running up aggressively looking to get in at goal somehow. Doing that in the 46th minute, I definitely think there could be a bit of value on them. Again, it was only one attack I saw. They're on a second attack here now, but it's gone out for a Augsburg throw-in, I think. Maybe
I'd be inclined to get on that now sooner rather than later, I think.
Yeah, the only reason I wouldn't get on it right now is because we already have it tied up in our live action ACA. We obviously need Munich to win with both teams to score. There was my leg of that bet. So, if I miss out on and Munich do go on and win, at least the leg of that ACA is in. I won't be that disappointed missing this, but I definitely want to keep an eye on if Munich keep drifting just as a single bet. It could certainly be worth getting on them.
Sorry, lads, I had to drop there for a couple of minutes, a few connection issues, but don't know whether you saw Keith's comment on YouTube, lads, where he's going to take the cash out.
You did definitely put the hex on me there with your penalty talk. I was just like, I just didn't even want to talk about it anymore. You were just like, no, I think there's definitely been more been missed this season. I just knew it was going to happen. It was inevitable at that point. Yeah, I'm still going to keep my faith in Almere. They mightn't score a penalty, but they could still score a goal. There's only about 12 minutes left in it now. But they've still had a few chances, and I'm going to keep the faith.
I'm just conscious actually now that it's half time, Gary. We've got our, as you might have heard, we were talking offline. We've got our greyhound race, but also Philip Clark in the comments had asked about the horse racing. So there's probably 5 minutes between now and when that dog is scheduled to run, and in reality, it's probably going to be late anyway. So I think we could dive into a bit of the racing, and you could talk us through. You've got a fancy this weekend. Well, you got fancies most weekends, but you've got a big one this weekend for us.
Yeah, well, so I actually have two for tomorrow. So in the Betfair Chase at Haydock, and this kind of links into an offer that we have from Boyle Sports. So Boyle Sports are offering money back if your horse finishes second to the SP favourite. So in the Betfair Chase, the Irish horse Absolute Heart is the favourite there. So it's about 6-4 favourite. Absolute Heart was second in the Gold Cup at Cheltenham last year, won the Savills Chase. Leopardstown last year, has really, really good back form, and is a 7-year-old, so it's in its prime. So it kind of looks nailed on winner. But there's a few horses with the Boyle Sports offer that kind of stick out to me. One of them is Bristol de Mai, so he loves it at this venue. He's won 3 of the last 4 run-ins of this race. So I think he's about 7-2. The ground is probably a bit fast for him, and that's why I won't be backing him. But if you're looking for a horse that, horses for courses is going to go well, I think he has a good shout. And if Absolute Heart wins and he finishes second, you're getting your money back as a free bet anyway. But the one for me here is Next Destination. So Paul Nicholls' horse was like top class hurdler, but then had some injury problems. And then last season he came back from those injury problems and was kind of nursed back to full fitness. I don't think they went too hard on him, and he still had a really decent season. The stable is 25% over the last 2 weeks, so the runners to winners ratio is 25%, which is really good. I think you have up on screen here. He's 7-1 with Boyle Sports, so you can stick a tenner on with Boyle Sports at 7-1. If he wins, you're going to win 80 quid, and if he finishes second to Absolute Heart, you'll get your money back as a free bet. So I just thought that was a really good offer for this race, particularly with those kind of sleepers there at decent prices behind the favourite.
Yeah, I like that. It's a clever use of the promotion there, and you make a good case for the horse. And again, anyone who's just joined us, I see we actually got a sharp increase in viewers on Facebook in particular, but across the 3 streams. Gary's in fine form this season, or all year. I mean, in fairness to you, most years as well. You're in a lot of profit tipping horses, and it's a good call there tomorrow. So I will add that to my list as well as the League bet to make sure I actually back it this time and don't wake up to disappointment to see all of you after winning. So I'll be on that for sure.
Yeah, so we didn't keep a P&L on our old site, so we revamped the site in April. So since then, I think it's a £19 or £190, whatever your stake could be. So if you put a tenner on every bet, horse racing bet recommended on the site since the 1st of April, you'd be up around £190. We haven't done it doesn't include the last couple of weeks, so that's up until the end of October. So yeah, as I said, fairly decent form. Hopefully you can get a winner tomorrow. But even tomorrow, it doesn't need to be an actual winner, because you can finish second and get your money back. So I think it's a decent bet to nothing. I have put the link into, so there's a link tree that's been posted into the comments on YouTube. I think we can post that probably into Facebook as well. So if you are interested in that offer, if you click on that link, you'll see the Boyle Sports offer there. Follow that through, and you'll be able to avail of it. So again, I think, Liam, you have it up on screen, so you can see there's a couple of Boyle Sports offers. We'll probably talk about the football ones towards the end of the show, but the one highlighted in blue there is the racing one.
Yeah, my catching colours there, but I like it. Yeah, good offers. Yeah, good offers this week.
Nobody has epilepsy watching, but
no, we do talk about it week to week. Sometimes you get good offers from the bookmakers. Other weeks not so much, but this week they're looking pretty good. So yeah, thanks for that, Gary. We're nearly up on time for our dog to race as well. So I don't think it's a very difficult one to actually watch this one. So I'll have a look myself, and I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, just before it starts,
20 seconds or something. So
Munich are out to 7-5 here. I'm watching the second half here, and like they've just been attack after attack, just non-stop. I think it's starting to become good value here at 7-5 to back them for the win. You could let it drift a little bit more, but you're obviously risking the first goal coming then. But they're really gunning for it. I guess, I mean, they're 1-7 at kickoff. Like, they should be, as far as the bookies think, and every stat you'll find, they should be winning this game. They've won 10 of the last 12 that these two have met, and drawn the other two. So, 13-10. They've just come back into now, probably just because I'm talking them up. But
no, I agree with you there, Slats, but I'm just going to hold off because I probably got a little bit too much riding on them with the treble, and then I've obviously doubled up on the treble with QPR and over 2.5 as well. So I don't want a single on them as well, not to be the only one that. But it's definitely for anybody who didn't get involved at the start. See 7-5 there. It's probably the bet to have.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's value there now for sure. Almere went 2-0 down. Maastricht scored again, which I think is definitely bad. I mean, there's 6 minutes left. It's unlikely they're going to get a result. Now, when they were 1-0 down, they were probably gunning for an equaliser, but it's become a little less likely that it's going to be both teams to score there now. And obviously starting to run out of time again. That would get the 15-1 Dutch treble up. So I'll keep you posted on how the last 5 minutes goes.
Keith in the comments is right. You should take the money and run.
I had my chance to, yeah. There was an 80 quid cash out at one stage, but no.
The odds are up for this race in Newbridge now, and a lot of kind of low priced ones. So we're at 5-2. There's also 9-4, 2-1, and then there's a couple of high priced ones then at 11s and 7s. But obviously the odds move quite a lot at this stage of the, just before the race. So I'll keep you posted on that.
I'm sorry, Albie, I missed that. What price are we?
5-2.
5-2.
5-2. Not a bad price.
Oh,
I just wish that bookmakers were offering, like the sports books were offering odds, so we could have a bet off them.
Yeah,
it'd be nice, all right.
Bayern out to 2.66 on the exchange here.
2.66, wow.
Yeah, very tempted to get on.
I mean, there's plenty of time there, like.
Yeah, I can't decide now. Is it worthwhile waiting to get out to 2.75 or something, and then that you're going to just miss it by seconds, especially with my woeful track record of missing bets.
Yeah, it looks like it's coming. It could, they could get that equalizer any minute. But the odds are certainly going to keep drifting.
Okay, we're commenting on YouTube from Johnny Byrne. So thanks for giving us the heads up on the Boyle Sports offer, and it's Imperial Aura for you. So well, brave man to go against Gary in the horses, but make use of that offer anyway, and then you won't be down money anyway. That's the main thing. At 2.7 now on Bayern. I think I'm going to jump on this.
Well, Augsburg are just on the attack here, so the first attack of the half. So maybe just hold off until they
score. It's going from 2.7 to about 4.5.
Yeah, I'll
And,
tell you now, just for fear that you'll miss out on a pretty swift counter attack. But no, they still have the ball down at the corner. They might even have a free in here.
We were the slowest out of the traps anyway in the race here. Looks okay. Oh, no, sorry. No, I'm fading a bit now. Not looking great. Definitely won't win. I think that the huge price was going to win. Actually, that 11-1 looks like he's going to win here. We are dead last. Yeah.
Thank God the sports books don't offer a market on.
Yeah, the 11-1 absolutely walked that there. Won by about, I'd say, 5 lengths. And then there was the most of the pack over about another 5 lengths, and then another couple of lengths back then was our inappropriately named Jet. So
that's the joys of ownership, though. And again, so for anybody who's just tuned in and thinks this is just a live stream, we do have a website as well, so sportsrundown.com, and on there it's mostly betting tips, but there are other kind of things on there. Betting guide. There's all sorts of information in the betting guide, from what bets are to how the weather impacts bets, and I think we might get onto that a little bit later on as well. But one thing we have been thinking of is writing about our experiences as kind of owners of bloodstock. So we own this dog, Liv Scarf Jed. We've had another one, Circa Oasis, previously, and myself and LB also own small shares in a horse, Granji, as well. So if that's something that interests you, let us know. Always looking for feedback from the people watching in, and go check out the site and let us know what you think of that as well.
Yeah, good point.
Darren Healy was obviously watching the races come in plumb last, so what more did you expect, Darren?
Yeah. Bayern out to 3.05 now, Slats. I think now
they were down the wing there and sent the ball across into the box, and the keeper managed to get down on it. Had he not got out, there was a striker waiting there to tap it in. Yeah, they've been pretty relentless.
Greedily going for 3.05 here. Let's see what comes if I get the drift.
Because greed usually works.
Yeah,
they're in their own half with possession now, so you probably have it. Although they've quickly turned this into an attack.
Oh God, how do I edit this? The odds are actually tightening rapidly on them as well here.
No, it's gone out for a Munich throw, but well outside the kind of box range between the halfway line and the box they would throw in. So you probably do have another 20 or 30 seconds before. Yeah, I mean they've thrown it back to just close to the halfway line. I'd still be worried a bit now if you weren't matched, because Augsburg have the ball back, but it's a free in for Munich from a good distance out, but they'll certainly have a chance to swing the ball into the box again. All
right, match the 2-1. I'm on just in time for Augsburg to presumably go 3-1 up now. And
it's into bloody injury time in this Almere game. It's still 2-0, which is disappointing. I'm just keeping an eye to see how much injury time they're going to show. 3 minutes, not a lot.
That's going to be sick, John.
Yeah, a penalty miss.
Penalty misses are just terrible.
Yeah, I know. I'll be sick with that now. Dordrecht were in that second, but I needed them to score. It's 4-0 now to the Graafschap. But in this treble, I just had over 1.5 second half goals there, so that didn't really matter. But yeah, it's Almere had another few chances laid on, but it's obviously pretty unlikely now.
Was the Almere one the one we called out the jump in odds between 1.5 and both teams to score?
It was, yeah. We talked about that the value was in both teams to score. But to be honest, I think that was proven by the fact that Maastricht scored at all, because Almere were 8-11 to win the match. So obviously the expectation was for them to score the 2 goals, and the risk was that Maastricht wouldn't score at all. So I wouldn't doubt the value, but yeah, it's kind of backfired this time. All right. But I wouldn't even, put that down to greed or anything. I just think it was a better
bet. Yeah. Johnny in the comments telling us to stick to the horse racing, lads. So
you won't be saying that when we're cheering in Shelbourne Park when he wins us big money. Although that's probably never going to happen.
Yeah, I won't hold my breath.
Munich ran another attack there, but they kind of played a bit of a crap ball through and just went out for a goal kick. So
yeah, just going up on 50 minutes here now in Belgium. Not a huge amount not a huge amount happened in the start of the second half. So nothing to report.
Yeah, the Lille Monaco game. So Monaco pulled a goal back just before halftime. Unfortunately, it wasn't Pavlovic. But yeah, just a remark about Jonathan David: 4 shots, four on target, 2 goals and a yellow card. It's been a fairly interesting first half for him. And I'd say Lille will kind of be kicking themselves because they had the game by the scruff of the neck. They were all over them for 40 minutes, and then they let Monaco back in the last 5 minutes. I'd say my bet is probably gone because I need 9 corners and 2 Pavlovic shots on target. It's still not totally out of the woods, but it's a bit of an ask now.
Brugge just taking the lead in Mechelen.
Nice one.
Who got the goal there? Did you see?
No, I actually just flicked on to look at some other bets, and I just heard the cheer, and I flicked back now. I'm going to see a big pile of them celebrating. So I'll see when it goes back to the... So
it's like Munich are the one now that we need. You know, there's less time there than all the other games. If they can pull it back, the bet's looking good. So, yeah, fingers crossed Munich can get their act together in the last 25 minutes there.
Almere, dangerous attack here. It's shot off target. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be it. 3 minutes injury time. It's 3 minutes 25 gone. So, yeah, full time. God damn it. Penalties coming back to haunt us again.
Yeah.
I mean, great bet to call out. And the difference between a missed penalty,
Oh, absolutely, for a 15-1 shot. Yeah, it all went well, and there was some nice early goals in that second half to get it up and running, and a decent cash out offer. But yeah, 6 still that a penalty let it down. It would have been, and there was still over 20 minutes to go when that penalty.
Yeah, that's it. It would have been in so early as well. It would have been lovely.
Yeah.
No, that's disappointing. All right.
I think that's decided though. The next time there's a penalty on the stream, I'm backing it to be missed. It has to be done, especially if it's just a way of hedging. We should definitely be doing it when you have a bet relying on the goal to be scored. It's different if you're just watching out of interest in the game, but when you have that financial pot at stake, you need to start hedging it.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there it would have been worth the hedge, because to miss a 3-1, you could have easily covered your stake and then some if you wanted. And even if you won the missed penalty, your bet is still alive. So, the bet could have still come off after taking the return on the penalty miss. Yeah,
for sure.
There's been so many that we've seen over the last day.
While we're at a bit of a lull, we might jump to some of the website articles. So, Gary, you have done an EFL hack. I think it's a treble, but it could be a fourfold for us this weekend in the English Football League. Do you want to
it is a fourfold. I actually really fancy this. So I think the first leg is probably the dodgiest leg. Sunderland at home to Ipswich. Both of them are decent sides, so that's why I think it's dodgy. But on form, the price is just way too big. So Sunderland have only lost once at home this season. They've won all their other games, so no draws. I think 6 wins at home and 1 loss. That 1 loss came against QPR a couple of weeks ago, and QPR just changed their manager, so they had a bit of a bounce from that, and they also got a bit lucky. I think the possession and shot stats and things like that were all in Sunderland's favour. So I expected when I looked here, Sunderland probably about 4-5, they're 13-10, so couldn't turn it down. But I said Ipswich aren't total no-hopers, so that's why I think it's probably the dodgiest leg of the 4. Charlton Plymouth is the next leg. So as I mentioned, Charlton are kind of a changed side since they switched manager. They've been on a great run of form over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and they face Plymouth, who are top of the league. Most of Plymouth's games turn into goal fest. I think I've mentioned that in the article. In their 17 games this season, so all of the league games they've played, the average in their games is 2.7. So again, if they can just score 3 goals, it'll get this bet up because the bet is over 2.5. But I do think Charlton will get on the score sheet, I can probably see it being 2-1 to Plymouth, or a 2-2 draw maybe, but over 2.5 goals is the bet for me there. Hartlepool Forest Green is the next. So Hartlepool's home form is the best in the division. Forest Green are top of the league, and they've only failed to score once on the road this season, and that was against Exeter, who are really good at St James's Park at their home ground. So I think both teams will score there, given Forest Green should get on the score sheet on Hartlepool's form at home. And then the last leg is the nap of all naps, in my mind, Oldham against Port Vale. Port Vale are on a really, really good run of form. They've only lost 1 in their last 10. In their last 8 games in all competitions, they averaged 3.125 goals scored per game. So they're scoring over 3 goals a game in their last 8 matches. Within there's 5-0 victories in the cup. There's 4-3 matches. There's just goals everywhere you look in their games. Oldham are 23rd in the league, so that's second last, and have a leaky defence. Port Vale are even, so I can't see why they're even. Like, they should be 4-9, 1-3. Obviously they could lose because it's football and anything could happen, but I think it's a great bet. So overall, that's a 15-1 accumulator. And I said, if Sunderland can do the business, and my quote there to get it off to a perfect start, I think that I think that it has a great chance. So 15-1 or active.
I was so tired when I was reading that last night. I didn't even clock that it was written like that, and then something kind of stuck with me. And I was like, "Is that a typo?" And then I went back and I was like, "Black Cats, perfect." I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
Well, no, you have to throw it. Go on, QPR has gone 2-0 up.
Lovely.
Yeah, no, you have to throw an L pun in every now and then. So,
Munich were in at goal there again, and a great tackle just put the ball out for a corner. So, nothing's really come from the corner. It's gone back out to the player who took the corner.
Mechelen as well had a very good chance at equalising, and then very nearly went 2-0 down on a counter afterwards. So it was just a strange one. It was a 2-on-2, and the two kind of centre backs gravitated towards the guy with the ball. He was bearing down on goal, and his body was just left unmarked at the side of the box, and he didn't pass it off to him. He just went for a shot, and it got blocked. So frustrating to see that. We have a comment on YouTube as well from Connor, killing it with the tips lately. Cheers, lads. Yeah, hopefully you're getting on those tips and making a bit of profit with us. We're I think across the whole site and the streams, we're on a pretty good roll recently. So glad to help out if we can.
Hopefully it'll continue.
I thought he was going to say killing it with the puns, but we'll have to make do with the compliment on the tips.
It's getting very scrappy here in Belgium, so I keep forgetting that Mignolet is back in goal for Bruges. Every time I see his face, it just catches me.
You could do it around Mignolet special at the minute, like.
Yeah, it's another corner here now for Mechelen. I think it's a corner. A lot of chances. Still 40 minutes to go, or 30 minutes to go there, so I'm not panicking just yet. Starting to panic about Bayern, though, I must say. 70 minutes.
Yeah, just the last couple of minutes there. Like, they're still on the attack, but not effective attack. Well, there was that great tackle that put it out for a corner, but outside of that, some of their attacks seem a bit. They're losing patience a bit and kind of making these Hail Mary passes that are just going out for throws. And like Augsburg are more than happy now to just sit back, put men behind the ball, and are defending effectively, really. So, like one goal would kind of swing that momentum a bit, and would kind of knock Augsburg's confidence a bit. But it's kind of against the clock here now, all right. And you'd want the goal in the next 5 minutes to be, to be feeling confident about them pushing on for a winner.
Yeah. 1-2 for another goal there in that game. From the way you're describing, it doesn't sound like Augsburg are going to try and catch Bayern on the counter. They're just going to.
No, they're not looking to.
No, so maybe it's not actually a wise bet there.
No, I would still say the value, like Munich are out over 3-1 now. I wouldn't be suggesting to, necessarily back them at this stage, but I would think it's better value in that than just backing another goal at 1-2. Because, I don't see Augsburg getting that other goal. And if Munich do, then the momentum could put them back with a good chance of pushing on to win it. They're in the box here. Oh, Jesus, that was just wide of the post. A good turn.
I thought it was a goal from the way you said it.
But like this definitely this has the look of Munich score and then they'll just score another one, like, you know, that way. It's just about getting that next score.
That just had goal written all over it there. I mean, he was out toward the edge of the box, but just the turn and shot, the keeper was beaten. It just trailed outside the post. I do think, I mean, if they do get one, like, they're kind of, nearly as likely to win as they are to draw, if you know what I mean. Like, if they get one, I'd expect that they will get another. But they're just kind of running out of time.
I just looked up and they're making a sub. It's obviously one of the goal scorers. I just saw the ball in the back of the
saw the same. I kind of paused for a second. Nothing was suspended. I'd been watching. I flicked off for like half a second, flicked back, and it just showed the ball hitting the back of the net.
Yeah. Got way too excited. Like.
Yeah. No such luck. Yeah, with QPR sitting on that 2-0 lead now, like that's looking very comfortable. And Bruges, who tend to concede with 30 minutes left there, isn't looking bad either. So yeah.
Do you know what? I'm going to see if there's a red card in this game. There's a couple of Mechelen players booked, and they're just going to go into tackles. They're getting a bit hasty. The Bruges players are quite cute. They're going down. They're making the most of everything, and wouldn't be surprised if the red came out now.
Oh, no. Jesus. Yeah, Munich are still pushing here. I'm kind of still a little tempted to get on them.
They're a huge price now. What are they, 5-1?
They're 4-1 on the sportsbook. I'd say you'd get 5-1.
They're 5.8 on the exchange here.
Yeah. I mean,
now I got that too.
You'd have to say that Augsburg are defending well. In fairness, like they're upsetting Munich. They're getting legs in the way, but it's just that, like, it's kind of just getting a foot in front of the ball as the shot's going in, or that.
As we said, if they do concede one, then they'll just they'll cave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Richard is back on the comments on YouTube. So 2-0 QPR. Yeah, that's looking like that one's in the bag for Gaz. So he's another good win there. If you're an EFL fan, it's well worth keeping an eye on Gary's tipping articles, even if you're not into the tipping, just to see his predictions, because he's pretty good record there at reviewing those games. And
it's another corner to Munich. I think now might be the time to strike. They're outside 5-1 on the exchange now. I'm just going to throw a small bet on them.
Just a comment in on Facebook again. One of these comments that won't be winning the bet if it lands. From Anita, who has said, Gary, didn't you support QPR at one stage before you changed to the Hammers? So I think that's a slight dig at. Well, first off, you need to get out there. There's only one team for me, and that's Super Shells, Ireland's number one. But yeah,
now that they're back in the Premier Division, you're a Shells fan again.
When I first moved to London, QPR off the road was close enough to my house, so I used to venture to the games. But now fully fledged West Ham. So I call myself a supporter, not a fan, but season ticket holder. So.
Incidentally, West Ham are having their best season in a long time now, off the top of the table. Gary's a West Ham fan.
I went through it in fairness. I was at Wigan away in the FA Cup when Wigan were in League 2, I think, and beat them. So I've done my penance with West Ham, trust me.
Oh, Mechelen here.
Well, thanks for that, Anita. Any more things you want to dig up from the past, bring it along?
Any gossip on Gary there now, we'd appreciate it. Just throw it into the comments. We'll award a prize based on that. Mechelen doing absolutely nothing now. They're just, or as I say it, 1-1. Exactly. Yes.
Brilliant.
I hate to say it, but all of the pressure is on you now. So
I'm feeling it. Big time.
That was a beautiful goal as well. They had two counterattacks that they just messed up. So I was like, they're doing absolutely nothing here. And then just as I said it, they got the ball, they broke. It was a 2-on-2. And I don't see who it was. He just kind of went wide right and then just buried it into the far left corner. Absolute rocket. Beautiful goal.
Right. Let's all start playing for the German goal gods to see if we can get 2 goals for Munich.
Oh, Mignolet. You know, you said it, Gary. Obviously these are professional athletes and who are we to slag him off, but he was way too left in that goal. Like that, I probably would have been able to finish that. There was such an open side to that net. But
I don't know about that now, but
I think so. 10-3 again now. Mechelen are back in it. So seems to be, delighted with that. Anyway, we said it that Brugge have had so many 1-1s this season and score draws that even if they win the game now, we knew they'd concede. So that's in the bag.
I was thinking with this Augsburg Munich game, like it probably would have been pretty much the same odds for both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. Yeah, I saw that Munich shot.
That's Lewandowski as well.
He'd expect him to score those 9 out of 10 times he's hitting the back of the net. Like,
I'm nearly out of breaking my microphone.
It just went, like, he took it quickly and it basically just went straight at the keeper.
I know, but what's he going for Ballon d'Or? You should be finishing that. It's unbelievably bad miss.
Yeah, it is a bad miss in fairness.
You begin to wonder, is it just one of those days?
Yeah, it's just hasn't been just clicking for them. Not even clicking, but just, haven't got the kind of bounce of the ball.
I still have faith. If they're getting chances like that, and as I said, I think if they get a goal in the next 5 minutes, they'll get another one. Because Augsburg are out on the teams here, that way.
What's the time on the clock, Gary?
So I think there's 11 minutes left in normal time and then added time as well, but I probably
just under 10. Just under 10 now, yeah. 10 minutes left. But yeah, there'll be a few minutes out of time as well.
If it's 2-2, they'll get the minutes, won't they?
You would hope so. The number 1 team in Germany, surely they'll get a bit of referee favour. Though they're not at home. So
like VAR decision that's going to go in their favour or something like.
Yeah.
I was going to say if they could get a penalty or something, but they're probably missing on our look.
We'd have to get on the miss if they do get one.
Yeah. But fingers crossed anyway. So I said, anybody commenting in or watching in, make sure to comment. And if Munich do get 2 goals and QPR can hold out on their 2-0 victory in Loftus Road, we'll be giving out 80 quid to whoever we deem to be, the best commenter of the night. So it can be the most comments, the best comment, the best slagging of Gary as it's gone tonight. So whatever you want to put in there, get interacting and you can win that money. But it's all dependent on Munich scoring 2 goals late on in their game over Augsburg or against Augsburg.
Like we said, if there was any team in this treble that you'd want to be waiting on, it's Bayern.
Yeah, I just can't believe that. Yeah, Augsburg got the goal for the both teams to score, and we're waiting on the Munich win.
Yeah,
this game, like if it was going to go against you, you'd expect Munich to be sitting on a 4-0 lead here, and Augsburg just not looking like scoring.
Yeah, no, they have taken off their 2 goal scorers now, Augsburg, so they're going full on defense. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, as in, you'd expect Munich are just going to have all the ball, but can they break down the banks of 4?
Realistically, it's been like that for the whole second half anyway. Like, even with those goal scorers on the pitch, Augsburg just weren't really looking like even trying to counter a whole lot. It's been all Munich. And like, I think I said, the first half, I think they had like 77% of the possession, and it's gone up to 80% now over the course of the game. So they've had well into 80%, probably 85% possession in the second half so far.
You nearly look to lay Augsburg in their next match because they're going to be so knackered. Like,
true.
note that one down for next week's stream if they're on it.
Yeah.
There could be another Friday night for them, yeah. Sometimes these teams play a few Friday nights in a row. They're only, they're 1-2 now for the win, Augsburg, but
Yeah, I was looking at the draw 2-1 being tempting, but I said I've enough riding on Munich at this stage that I don't want to part with any more cash on them.
Yeah, another kind of problem here is that I haven't seen anything that's really going to warrant a large amount of injury time.
All right.
Oh, geez, another shot on target. Keeper dropped it. Defender half cleared it, and it just trickled. A Munich player got a foot to it, and it just trickled past the post. They're trying to
Keeper looks to be having a day there. Like, was that Muller from? That's a similar position. It's kind of
it was Muller, I think. Yeah, just half cleared. I mean, he just had to take it first time as the ball has been cleared out of the box, but
he's claiming it got a deflection for a corner.
It looks like it did because just the angle the ball went. I mean, it was kind of going up and just dropped back onto the ground.
Unfortunately, the ref hasn't given it though.
No, but I mean, they've had 10 corners already and done very, very little with them. So, like they'll be on an attack again in another 30 seconds. It's not going to make a huge difference that they didn't get the corner. Augsburg are oddly pushing forward on a bit of an attack here after taking off the 2 goal scorers. They've like 5 or 6 players in the Munich half for the first time, and I would say maybe the second or third time the whole half. But they've got themselves back in defensive line now.
You really want that. You really want them to kind of go for it, get out of position, and then be caught out.
Absolutely, yeah. And Munich will hit them with the counter if they get half a chance. But I mean, Augsburg that time they just threw in a bit of a late challenge just to slow it down as well. So it's Munich free kick.
It's 14-1 here for Mechelen to grab a winner and Bayern to grab an equaliser. So I'm going to throw a tenner on that. So 1 goal each. Well, as many as Mechelen want, but only 1 for Bayern.
Like it seems like a good shout. I think the draw is a good shout there, and we'll only be a goal away. So if you can get some sort of cash back, be decent, Yeah. Yeah,
Mechelen are far more fired up now that they've equalised, and Brugge are not doing a huge amount. I'll probably swallow my words again now in a second, but minutes.
Yeah, it's annoying as well that this is the early game too, because it's just going to kill our momentum for the rest of the show. This Munich game.
Yeah, it's always the way, isn't it? The 7:30s.
Have you been watching all of this, lads? Would you say it'd be much out of time?
No, I was saying that a minute ago. I haven't seen anything that would indicate much out of time at all. It could be like, I mean, you rarely see less than 3 minutes these days, right? At full time or the second half injury time.
Yeah, because there has been a lot of substitution, so you'd expect 3 minutes anyway. But
but beyond that, nothing really. There was one foul and it was a yellow card for Augsburg, and it kind of just took a bit of time for the ref to get down and sort that out. But that's been it really from what I've seen. Now, I haven't watched the whole half, but I don't know. I wouldn't be expecting like 5 minutes plus anyway.
Mechelen had a great chance there.
Sorry, go ahead, Ivy.
Mechelen had a great chance, but kind of well defended, and then tried to pass it across the box, and it just mishit it and went out wide for a goal kick. But still looking dangerous.
I was just going to say, it's so annoying seeing Munich where like 7 players camped across the 18-yard box and, not being able to get any shots off. Hello?
Yeah.
No, another decent bit of defending. Like Augsburg are just dealing with them, aren't they? She's even the Munich keeper up at halfway just to keep the attack going.
Yeah, that looked like, it was a decent challenge, but on another day, a little clip there, and it could have been a penalty for Munich.
Yeah, there's been a few of those. That was a great tackle there about 20 minutes ago, putting it out for a corner, but he was very close just to going through the back of the player's legs. He managed to avoid the player, clip the ball out for a corner, and save a goal, basically.
When they're camped in their box like that, it becomes nearly just habitual. Just throw your body at every ball and just wait for the clock to run out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, they just seem to get into a kind of a mode of just keep just throwing everything at it, and they're all kind of in it together. It's just this battle of like the whole game of football just becomes this. Let's just get in the way of them and stopping them scoring. And teams seem to be decent at it when they need to. With a bit of time wasting here now too.
Time wasting when you have a bet on has to be, like when you're losing a bet as well, has to be one of the most frustrating things ever.
More annoyed than the players on the pitch there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's infuriating. Oh, here's a great chance for Mechelen. What kind of corner? An awful cross, and then just an awful clearance. So got a corner out of it at least, but could have done better there. 15 minutes to go. Yeah, that equaliser in the Munich game is looking unlikely now, I suppose. 89 something gone, nearly 90.
Yeah, it's pushing into the 90th minute now, and the 90 minutes are just up now, and Augsburg actually have possession deep in Munich's half.
What is the added? Have we seen the added minutes yet?
4, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, 4.
Which is nice if you need one goal, but
you can do a 40, I think.
Yeah.
In fairness, Augsburg actually have the ball now. They've kind of got out. For most of this half, they've been sitting back, but they've got out of their own half here now. So
it's what we want, though. Get
so they got a few holes, like.
Yeah.
Now cynical foul there, Dan.
Yeah, another free kick to Munich, but they keep fouling them out around this area where it's not exactly a dangerous free kick for the amount of time it runs down on the clock. It's probably worthwhile. And it's only, I think, their second yellow card of the match, so they've been kind of getting away with it well enough too.
Oh, 2-1 Mechelen. Lovely.
Wow.
What a goal. No, you can
Right,
maybe...
so Munich need to score not to let us down on 2 bets now.
Yeah. Oh, what a goal. I thought it was a great finish, but Mignolet is sitting on the ground looking awful sorry for himself, so he might have had a hand to play in it, or the absence of a hand, I suppose. But that was 25, 30 yards. Nice. Yeah, really good.
While we're talking about dodgy goalkeepers, Liam, might be a good segue into talking about Aaron Ramsdale, potentially.
I suppose the only segue really is for
you. The English Ederson, as Sky Sports are trying to brand him. It's a ridiculous statement.
I mean, yeah, he's been unbelievable this season. There's no doubt about that. You obviously can't call him Ederson for quite a while, but I mean, I haven't watched every game in the Premier League, but certainly from what I've seen, he's the best keeper in England so far this season. He's been unbelievable. Maybe it's just a bit of luck. Maybe he'll go back to the level you think he was at before. And like I think I said to you, I never really saw much of Ramsdale before he moved to Arsenal. I used him a few times. But, I mean, he's definitely the best keeper Arsenal have had in my kind of watching memory of them. Do you know what I mean? There's no one in the last 20 years who's played better. Obviously, he's only had 15 games, but yeah, really good. Like, he does everything right. Hasn't made a single mistake yet. I mean, they love on Sky to start, comparing players and attaching the next so-and-so to younger players or whatever. So maybe that's a little bit ahead of themselves. But yeah, I mean, like I said, he might go off a cliff now, but based on what we've seen so far, he's far better than what people were giving him credit for during the summer.
Yeah, I have to say, like, he has played well this season, but on past performances and especially the games I've seen him live, I just think he's an accident waiting to happen. So I'm fully confident that in 2 years' time he'll be back down the championship. Might be with Arsenal at this stage, but no, I actually don't think. I think if Arsenal want to be back where they want, like, winning championships and Champions Leagues and stuff, I just don't think he's going to get them there. But could be wrong, been wrong in the past. What do you think about the game at the weekend, Liverpool-Arsenal? Look at big price, Arsenal, I thought.
Yeah, it's a very big price. And Liverpool haven't looked, I mean, they're obviously scoring for fun, but they're very shaky at the back, by their own standards, at least recently.
Coming off a loss to West Ham.
Yeah. I mean, even in that, like, Alisson was definitely not the Alisson that we saw before, like, 18 months ago. I think I actually don't know the players, but I saw in the news they have a couple of injuries, maybe Liverpool. I think but Arsenal 6-1. I think it's way too high. I've already backed them, and I'll probably back them again before the game.
Yeah, and the Liverpool players would have travelled a lot further. Like, I haven't actually got the games in front of me, but in international week. But a lot of Liverpools are travelling to Africa or South America, whereas from just off the top of my head, I think Arsenal are probably more European based anyway. So they probably have that in their favour as well. Like, they're 5.5-1. I saw at Boyle Sports earlier on, but you can get an enhancement with Boyle Sports to 7-1 for Arsenal. And I think that's like a really good bet, considering Arsenal were in the relegation zone not too long, or near the relegation zone not too long ago, and now they're just outside the Champions League spots. So they're a team in form, and as you said, Liverpool aren't at the moment the team they were or have been over the last couple of seasons. So I think it's a good time to play them. For anybody watching in, there's actually, you can get that on our link tree as well. The 7-1 as well, it reminds me. So Boyle Sports have an offer that if you sign up for a new account in Ireland, you bet €10, you get €40 in free bets. And you can also choose between even money for Liverpool. So I think Liverpool are 4-9 to win. So you can get evens on Liverpool. Arsenal are 5.5-1, and you can get 7-1 about Arsenal. So you're getting free bets and a kicker on the odds. And then UK punters get a little bit less. So it's bet 10, get 20, but you get the same kicker on the odds. So if you're thinking about having a bet in that game, whether it's Liverpool or Arsenal, I would fancy Arsenal at 7-1 anyway. You have rose-tinted glasses, so probably won't ask you, but I think, if you're getting free money and enhanced odds, it's definitely worth a chance anyway.
It's been a while since they won in Anfield, right?
That's an awful record at Anfield, but this will be a very different group of players now. I mean, they've, the starting 11, at least 4 of them are brand new this year, so they wouldn't have that emotional baggage of getting battered up there. And if you look at it, that's the thing. I mean, I know you're getting in the comment about Arsenal in the relegation zone, Gary.
I was just joking, but no,
I know. If you look at them, like, they're, that team is, I think the 10 youngest fielded teams in the league this season are all Arsenal. Like, it's such a young team, which is good because obviously a lot of the kind of slightly older players have the, if you go back a couple of years, David Luiz, Xhaka, players like that who had the tendency to get the red card and instigate the implosion. So I think they have a very good chance against Liverpool. I'll back them because they're so juicy, but I think the draw looks like a good shout. Like you said, I mean, Liverpool, 4-9, you can't be backing them at 4-9. Even if you think they're going to win, there's no value in that whatsoever. So, I think it's a good bet.
There's a comment in here from Johnny Byrne just saying Draw had a scrapping well at Rovers, could be worth a punt to spoil the party with a late goal at 8-1. It's not a bad shout. I don't know how long's left there. It's probably...
Are Rovers getting the cup tonight, or have they got the cup already?
I don't know.
The big trophy.
Did they play at home last week? The week before is when they were down in Waterford, wasn't it, with the fireworks going off?
Yeah, fireworks. Sounds like, what I mean? Sounds like a good thing. You skipped over a comment there from Anya Wall Shoes, asked what the bets are. So I mean, I think that Arsenal-Liverpool one would be one of my main bets of the football this weekend anyway, that's for sure. And then we've called out, of course, Dermot has his League One ACCA, which is 13-2. I'll definitely be back in that. Gary's gone through his EFL. Oh, we actually have skipped over to Serie A, Slat, so maybe we want to cut to you. I assume it's all wrapped up in the Bundesliga, so we can just
it's full time.
Yeah. So we have Serie A expert on the site, Enzo, who... What?
Oh, no, I was just saying fair play to Augsburg. Like, they just defended like demons there for 45 minutes. And, deserved their win. But yeah, moving on to the Serie A, Enzo's been doing well. Had some decent shouts lately. And he's got 3 more nice-looking picks for the weekend. So the first one up is Lazio hosting Juventus. He's talking through that Juve, it looked like they were bouncing back and then had a couple of, defeats back-to-back, but seemed to be getting things back on track. Just before the break, and then I guess one of the key points is Immobile for Lazio is out injured, so he's been kind of anything they've been doing well in attack, he's been central to it. 10 goals and 2 assists. So on that basis, it's 7-5 for Juventus to win. It does look like very good value there. I was looking at it myself, and given that Lazio are missing their striker and Juventus have had a lot of kind of 1-0 wins lately, Juve to win and under goals. I know under 2.5 is evens there, which seems like a good shout. But anyway, I'm not the Serie A expert. I'm only calling out Enzo's bets here, and he's saying 7-5 for Juve to win. So I'll definitely be going with that. The next one up is Fiorentina at home to Milan, and it's a similar bet. It's just a straight away win. Milan 5-4. This is the sort of one I really like. Fiorentina, fair enough, they're the home team, but as Enzo's pointed out, their wins have come from teams below them, and they've lost the games against teams above them. Milan are unbeaten, 10 wins and 2 draws. So it seems like those odds are just kind of based on, Fiorentina are, they've been doing all right at home, but when you really dig into it, it definitely looks like there's value there for Milan to win. 5-4, and then the Genoa-Roma game, he's talking about Shevchenko taking over there at Genoa, and just that Roma haven't been great lately. They've been pretty poor away from home, particularly where they've lost 4 of their last 6. So just that kind of new manager, getting the team going, it seems like good value for Genoa to win that at 4-1. Which is pretty decent value there. It's a bit of a hunch, as Enzo says himself, to go for it, but I guess a 4-1 shot in a game like that, it's always going to be a bit of a hunch. But we've seen it before with new managers kind of motivating the players. They want to get off to a good start under a kind of new regime, and just with Roma's kind of poor away form, there definitely does look to be a bit of value there. So 4-1. It's definitely worth a punt. The Milan one is the one that jumps out to me there as a real good bet, 5-4 for them to get the win there. But all 3 of them look decent, and Enzo's been on pretty good form, picking out a few winners from the Serie A. So you'd be justified in backing all 3 of those, certainly.
Yeah, I like the sound of them. I like the 4-1 as well myself. I think it was like a good price for them there. So I'll back him as a treble, but I do like that juicy one as well. We have a comment in from Dave. The La Liga game still at 0-0. What do you think? Well, I'll tell you what I think, but I'll give you the caveat that I still, in the last 3 years, have never won a single La Liga bet. So maybe do the opposite of what I'm saying. I know Bibao were favourites for this game, but I've actually had it on here while Slats was talking about the last sort of 5-10 minutes, and it all looks to be Levante. They've actually had 13 shots compared to Bilbao's 3, and they had a very good kind of a counter attack, but a fast-paced attack down the left wing and played it into the box. It was just cleared away while Slats was talking through Enzo Serie A bets there. And I don't know. There's a single goal is even money now. Doesn't look like the worst shout based on the 10 minutes that I've seen, but like I said,
just on that, before the comment came in, I pulled the trigger on Levante 4-1. I just thought, as you said, based on the stats, and I was watching it as well, just in we've got QPR on one screen and Levante on the other. It definitely doesn't seem like they should be 4-1 there. So I pulled the trigger on that while we were talking. Oh, that's not
just a straight win, is it?
Straight win, yeah.
Gary,
Nice.
sorry, you had that same game multi on the Monaco Lille game. I don't know if that's still alive or how that's looking now, but there seemed to be a burst of corners. We kind of talked about that. I think there was only 2 corners in the first 50 or 55 minutes, and it's 70 minutes now, and there's been 8 corners. It seems like in the last 10 or 20 minutes there was a glut of them. So 20 minutes to go, you need 3 more. Is looking pretty decent for that leg of it. Lille
it's the shots on target are kind of letting it down at the minute. But I'm keeping my faith in Dermo with Pavlovic anyway.
Does he have any?
No, he's had 1 shot but none on target.
Okay.
So a little bit of a big ask, but for a 280 to 1 shot, you don't mind that, So
no, yeah, but it's only him then that you're really waiting on. I mean, Lille are winning, and the Lille goal score of both their goals, you needed to score. Or sorry, you needed 2 shots on target from David there. Like that came in very early. The corners isn't looking bad now, so it's just.
Yeah, if he could get 1, it would definitely. If you can get 1 in the next 7 minutes, let's say before the 80th minute. It'll definitely put the bet in contention.
Yeah, it seems a little unlucky. Bet365 has shown that Monaco have had 8 shots on target, 18 shots in total. So, and unlucky that he hasn't been in the mix there of the 8 on target.
Yeah, and he's definitely watching it here. He's involved in everything that Monaco are doing, but he's just not getting into the positions to take many shots at the minute. But sooner or later, Monaco are going to have to start going a little bit gung-ho. So again, he's playing for the right team. If it was Lille, you'd be worried that they're going to start taking their attacking players off.
Yeah.
But, with Monaco, they're going to have to leave them on and take a few risks. So still not dead in the water, but the cash out is half my stake. So the bookies don't think it's going to come in. But yeah, it's good to still have some sort of chance anyway.
Good to be alive in a bet like that. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. I went to tail you on that Levante bet, Gary, and I ended up backing Levante to score the first goal instead of Levante to win.
I thought you were going to say I ended up backing a Bilbao. I was like, oh, cheers for that.
Yeah. Nice tail.
So, I guess at this stage of the game, if they don't score first, they're unlikely to win. So it's not the worst bet ever. But I don't know why. I don't know how I even did that. I'm not even sure I ever backed that market before, but it was a mistake anyway. So
what odds were they?
3-1.
Okay, yeah.
And 4-1 for the win, so I guess it kind of makes sense. 6-5 now for a goal. It still looks good. Bilbao are more in the game than they were when I first started watching, but it's I like a goal at 6-5, but I'm going to leave it off because I've got that other stupid Levante to score first bet.
I've been ignoring a comment on Facebook for a while, but Aoife commented in saying that Georgie Kelly had scored, so that's Georgie Kelly for Bohemian. So unfortunately, Bows are back in it. And then Rovers have just taken the lead against Roda. So hopefully Johnny didn't pull the trigger on that 8-1 shot because they got 2-1 down. But
yeah,
it's a roundup of the
actually doesn't change. It doesn't change Bows' finish. They're going to still finish 5th. Yeah, but even making sure that Gary never award her the prize for the comments if it ever comes to that.
Waterford didn't manage to get the win there tonight, LB, even though it wouldn't have made a difference for them either.
No, 4-0 to Finn Harps.
Yeah, I just thought they were good enough odds. I think I saw them at about 7-2, and Pats had nothing to play for Waterford. The only way they were going to survive really was with a win, and still hope that Finn Harps didn't get more than a draw.
Yeah,
but I guess maybe they even got word that Finn Harps were Finn Harps up 3-0 at half time. They might have kind of heard that.
Coming in from Nina again, I think it's Portuguese, saying that did anyone go to the Rovers game? So I mean none of us three anyway. But yeah, so that's a no from us here.
It's mad the way you're showing off your language skills on this show, LV.
Reading them, if I had to say them out loud, I'd be in a bit of trouble after my League One pronunciations earlier in the season.
So yeah, your Belgian bet kind of ended up actually coming in with plenty of time to spare, LB.
Yeah,
I don't know if
nice.
you've been keeping an eye on that game since.
No, I left it at 2-1. I moved over to the Spanish game. It is bucketing down now in LEvante. Oh, there was an offside. Yeah, it's weird. A legitimate penalty call there for Bilbao, and they just ruled it offside and moved on swiftly. But it looked to me like it was not offside. So
Ready to
still
pull the trigger
suspended.
on penalty miss.
Yeah. Hop on.
Although
that.
it'd be going against your bet, so it probably would bloody be scored. One of the few.
Oh
that
yeah,
would be
that's actually, of
scored
course,
while
it
watching.
would. Yeah, be the 1 in 7 that actually goes in. It's still suspended here, so I don't know. Is it being VAR reviewed or something?
Yeah, it could be
While
something like
game
that.
has gone on, I think that'll be given as a penalty. It looked to me like he wasn't offside, but I only saw it briefly. But
Do you know actually what's bothered me? And I'm just seeing QPR going to full time 2-0. I was going to say fair play to Gary on that, but when I was looking at my own pick for the Friday Aka, I kind of had to go at picking both of your bets, and I went for QPR to win for Gary, and I went for both teams to score on over 2.5 goals in that Bruges game for you, LB. And it was I knew the angles. I mean, we've been betting together enough to kind of know what each other is going to be looking at on a Friday night. So, like, I actually picked 2 out of 3 winners right, just not my own bloody pick.
yeah, that is unfortunate.
Yeah, we'll just bet you pick them out from now on. So
I just won't pick my own. I can't believe that it's only like a 1-7 shot like with Munich to win that match that kind of let us down. Such an unlikely occurrence. 10 wins and 2 draws the last 12 times they played Augsburg.
Yeah, I assume that Soy was the miss in Levante, was it, LB? Oh my God, you should see the miss that in Levante. Like, your man is standing at the penalty spot, booking down Moraine, catch it on the volley, and the keeper somehow gets a hand to it and it just rolled by the post. The slowest roll you could have by the post.
You call that a miss? Like, that was some save to see the replay of it from behind the striker. That was an incredible save.
I'm watching on a tiny screen, so in live it looked like it was a sitter, but then when you watch the back and it was actually a volley, you have to give him a lot of credit for it.
On the first shot, I thought he put it wide actually on the live feed. But yeah, incredible save there. This stupid game is still suspended now. I don't know what's going on.
I was going to say it's still sitting there suspended. Yeah. It's
the
not
League One bet is gone.
Is he subbed off, Gary?
Well, not subbed off. He had a yellow card, and then he's ended up getting himself a straight red card. So
that's good going.
Yeah, if you're on the booking points, that's good. But
I thought they were going to review there. It looked like to be a handball by one of the Bilbao defenders, but doesn't look to be given either. The game is now back from suspension. Did we? I know we talked before, Gary. You were paying more attention to the League of Ireland First Division than I have been. You said you're wondering who was going to be playing in that promotion playoff. I think I saw that UCD beat Bray, did they? So does that mean it's UCD against Waterford?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, I didn't actually see the result now today. I haven't had a chance to look at it, but if they won 2-0, yeah. So I know it used to be that this game was one legged in a neutral venue, and then the next was like the kind of final was 2-leg affair. But with COVID last year, Shells versus Longford was the playoff, and it was in Richmond Park. So I haven't checked out whether they're keeping that this year. I think they might be keeping that this year. So it'll just be a one-leg playoff. Winner takes all between UCD and Waterford.
Okay.
And did you say, sorry, Gary, I might have missed it. Does someone get home advantage for that if it's only a single leg?
No, so yeah, neutral venue.
Neutral venue, sorry, I missed that. Yeah, well, that makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah, kind of preferred because like it's very unfair on the first division side. You have to play a playoff against your own team or own kind of level to get into that. And then you're in it and you're up against the team with more money, better players, and you're in a neutral venue as well. Whereas like before, you could kind of go away, try and get a 0-0 draw, and then bring it back to your fans and try and get a bit of atmosphere behind you and make you win. So I think I don't like the way it is because it's unfair on the team trying to get up out of the first division. Whereas you think you'd be trying to punish the team that's had a bad season in the Premier League, like, you know.
But you could say that the other way as well, like just, you know, in a single game, anything could happen kind of thing, you know? Like if the more times, like, you know, taking what you're saying there kind of for granted. So let's say the team coming down is just on paper a much stronger team than the team coming up. You know, if they were to play 10 times, you'd expect the bigger team to win 7 or 8. But if you just make it a single game, you know, in this case, UCD could just, you know, try and frustrate the crap out of them and then catch them on the break. I mean, I'd probably prefer two-legged anyway, just in general, but you could maybe make a case that it works the other way.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's definitely...
Find out in a couple of weeks anyway. We'll see.
Exactly. I just think, I think it's... Personally, I think it's unfair, but then it could be just, as I said, my... in the back subconscious because Shells didn't get up last year. I
don't like to be, Gary, if it's a neutral venue, does it tend to be in the Aviva?
No, so last year it was in Richmond Park, but then last year it was behind closed doors as well.
Right.
So before, I think that was the first year they did it. Before, it used to definitely be a two-legged affair.
I can actually remember when it was a two-legged affair, Waterford went up to, I think it was Drogheda, and they won 3-0. And then I was at the return leg in Waterford and they lost 4-0 or something. And
oh my God.
It was unbelievable. Yeah.
Speaking of anything happening in games, Monaco have just equalised. So this game has had absolutely everything. So 4 goals. I think there's 7 cards at the minute. So Lille going 2-0 up in the first half. And Monaco coming back.
With 10 men.
Yeah, the 2-2 with 10 men. Yeah, so still 10 minutes left in that game. Or no, 6 minutes left in the game. But probably wouldn't be having a bet considering how up and down it's been. But you have to give Monaco their credit coming back to hope, like, what it looks like at a point now.
Yeah, even another goal there could be a shout at 12-5. You know, another minute you'd be getting 3-1. For a game like that, surely Lille are going to push on and go for the winner. And I don't know, maybe Monaco have a bit of belief. They've had a lot more of the attacks and shots so far. So
I'm still firmly believing in LEvante. That's the only goal I want.
They've had a few more chances, LEvante, haven't they? I switched it on there a couple of minutes ago. They've come close a few times now to getting a winner.
It's 5-2 for a single goal. It's starting to tempt me, but with that other kind of stupid bet, I might just leave it.
For what I've seen, LEvante definitely, like, I've been watching it probably for the last 25 minutes, maybe half hour. LEvante definitely deserve to win it, but you don't always get what you deserve in these games. Like, and it's bucketing down rain as well. That, you know, it could be a keeper mistake or anything like that. Given how much rain has fallen.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes it, like we said, that save earlier is even more impressive because of that rain.
Yeah, because it would have skipped off the surface for him as well. Like, you know.
Yeah.
No, we want it for our bet, but you have to give the keeper credit all the same.
Yeah. While we're talking about Spanish football, we have a La Liga expert on the site. So again, anyone familiar with SportsRunDown.com will know we've got Savage, who puts up various Spanish football bets each week. This week he's got 3 bets picked out for us, and he's a recap of the previous week. So his articles are a slightly different style than the usual tips we have up there. It's kind of a more in-depth. He'll give you the game of last week and the goal of last week and a few different ones like that. So this focus this week is obviously on the Barcelona Espanyol game, the derby there of that city. It's the first game in charge for Xavi to be back. So it's actually funny, I haven't seen his face in a while, but it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. There's a lot of that generation of players now starting to manage. Obviously, you like to take over at his boyhood club under slightly better circumstances, but he's gone for both teams to score there. He thinks that, you know, Barcelona will be better than maybe they've been in the last while, but, you know, still some question marks there. So both teams to score bet in that Barcelona derby. That kind of game could easily have one all written all over it. You know, the emotions will help them get on the score sheet, but maybe there are gaps in that squad, and they'll be found out. The next game he's looked at is Granada against Real Madrid, and I mean, Real are, they're flying from. They had a bit of a wobble there, but they look to be back on track. And Savage talks about the relationship between Vinicius Jr. and Benzema. They're on fire together. I think maybe 1 or 2 league games is all they failed to score this season. Otherwise, they're banging in a lot of goals. And Granada, they've kept only 2 clean sheets in their 12 games. So he expects a comfortable win here. So we've gone with Madrid to win and over 2.5 goals. And then the other one is Sociedad against Valencia. I don't think anyone expected Sociedad to be doing very well this season. They lost their opening. Actually backed them that day as well. Their only loss of the season was their first day of the season. They lost to Barcelona.
Standard for you on your La Liga betting.
Yeah, so I backed them thinking Barcelona would not be great. Barcelona won that game and then became crap, and Sociedad lost, and then have become good. So they've either won or drawn every game since, and they're doing really well. So he thinks it could be a low-scoring affair, doesn't expect a huge amount of action, but he thinks the home side will sneak that one as well. So there is 3 bets there, and then, like I said, he runs into kind of a game of last weekend, which is obviously the Valencia Atletico 3-3, which was a cracker, and then goal of the week and stuff like that. So for someone like me who doesn't have that much knowledge about La Liga, it's a great article series.
It's a good article just to kind of catch up on what's going on there, isn't it? Yeah.
I feel like I could read it and then kind of act like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of ones, yeah.
No, it is good to keep track of just what's happening in the league. And as you said, Joe, it's not as betting orientated, it's a different style, but still gives you enough information that if you want to bet, you can kind of either make your own decision or you can follow the ones that we pick out best based on Savage's kind of input.
Yeah.
I like the goal of the week bit as well. It's just easy watching a little kind of clip in the middle of the article just to appreciate the best goal of the previous weekend. Yeah.
I'm really surprised by Sociedad. I mean, obviously I don't know anything, so I should, my surprise doesn't mean a whole lot, but, if you look at the results, Madrid seem to be doing so well, and for them to be beating them, to be ahead of them in the table is pretty impressive. So we knew there'd be a bit of a shake-up at the top of La Liga, the way Barcelona and even Madrid before them had some financial problems, and Atletico always seemed to have a shoestring budget. But for Sociedad, Sevilla and Betis to be in the top 5, it's some going, Nice to see that league be shaken up a little bit and not
shaken up a bit, absolutely, yeah. Good to see.
Did I see Dani Alves going back to Barca?
Saw the headline. I don't know if it's official or not.
Yeah, I think I definitely saw him tweeting about it, saying I'm forever young or something like that and want to go home. But I don't know whether that's going to be from January or whether he was a free agent to go and play. But it's not probably bringing in his old teammates like.
Yeah. It's a mess at the minute, though. They'll need all the help they can get, really.
Yeah. And then did you see, speaking of, you were saying Real have some kind of financial problems or whatever. Did you see the stadium they want to build?
Yeah.
What they want to do to regeneration of the Bernabeu? It's unbelievable looking, but it's going to cost them billions to do it. I don't understand where they're getting their cash from.
Probably they're getting it from the government for decades. You know what I mean?
LEvante a goal there again.
It's probably worth actually looking up. We might even get Savage to do a little bit of a dive into it. But I remember reading before, some really badly written, probably someone from Spain, about all the favors Madrid got from the government, and I wouldn't use the word corruption now. We're probably going to get in trouble, but getting things bought off them by the government at ridiculous prices and then sold back to them 6 months later for 10% of what was paid for them, and just the city just absolutely bailing them out at every turn. So you get probably used to that kind of treatment. You start to expect
sounds like the Tories.
Oh yeah, but you start to expect a big a big huge budget like that wouldn't even put you off. I don't like to see the stadium get regenerated either. You like to see some of the old ones. Kind of nice.
That's how when we were in the San Siro and we were thinking they're going to knock this down. It's ridiculous.
Just build another thing that looks exactly like. It just look like the Aviva or the Emirates or Tottenham Stadium. They all feel the same when you're inside them. Just get. Those
now,
big
square ones. San Siro, they need to get rid of the carpet. But you could definitely just spruce it up a small. I don't know if that's if you've ever been there, but
I haven't been there, but
I've
heard
walked in and it was just on the steps that you go up to your seat, where they're normally just concrete steps, these were like carpet that was laid in like 1960 or something. It was ridiculous. Like, so yeah, they definitely need to spruce it up a bit, but knock it down and rebuild is a bit over the top. Like,
see, that's the problem with the Serie A stadiums. Like, they were all built, 20, 30 years before most of the rest of the European ones, so they're just aging now. Because when we went to Napoli as well, Gary, like, that stadium was decrepit,
Yeah, it was.
Still class, and eventually they'll knock it and build some soulless modern crap thing as well, like everybody else. But I think the problem with some of the teams have is that they've reduced capacity because parts of the stadium are a bit insecure as well. So yeah, ideally they could just fix it up and not knock it down and build another kind of bowl type thing.
Insecure, don't hurt their feelings. Like,
I don't know how else to say it.
Unsecure, I suppose.
We've gone into the 91st minute here in LEvante, not looking like there's going to be a goal based on the torrential downpour.
What's the injury time there? Can you see
5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Yeah, so still 4 left, but I mean, there hasn't been a goal in 91 of them, so I don't know why we'd expect one in the last 4. But actually, you mentioned the weather article, Gary. So we have an article we have a betting guide section on SportsRunDown.com, and one of the articles up there is whether or not, well, it's called, I can't remember what it's actually called, but it's about the weather, and there's a global weather expert called Jim Dale. Yeah, whether or not was his book, and he very nicely wrote an article for us, kind of detailing how the weather can impact sports and sports betting. So a lot of the focus is on American sports, but it applies equally to soccer as well, or football. And I suppose the main ones, and we can see it here in this Levante game, is that the two things that stood out for me is that less goals when the weather gets bad, and then that it's a great leveler. So I know Bibao were kind of even money for this game, and they couldn't do anything with it because I'm sure that the conditions have played a part. It's not the game they were expecting, and yeah, it's a very interesting read for anyone who's remotely interested in sport or betting. It's worth checking that one out.
The passes at the moment, like, they're hitting these passes that should go 20 or 30 yards along the ground, and they're just stopping after about 8 yards.
Yeah.
You just see
there's so much standing water. Like.
Yeah.
Levante were on a good attack there, and then the ball is held up as the winger was running down the line.
Saw that, yeah. But I suppose that's the whole point of it,
I'd say it'd be some crack to play in those conditions. Like,
again, Levante were just on the break there. They were just about to break, and the ball was just moving so slowly. It just gave the defenders plenty of time to get back. They were never going to get up the pitch quickly with the ball getting caught up in the water that much. Like,
no, you see fellas sliding tackles, and they're sliding about 15 yards.
Yeah, well, it's a free into the box here, so it's probably now or never for Levante to get a winner. Just over 2 minutes of injury time left, so this could be it.
Is that not Bibao with the free?
Oh, was it?
I think so. Oh, I thought that was a good shot, but no, it's gone wide. I think that's Bibao. I mean, I'm being polite. It's Bibao. Last game that we have on tonight, it looks like it's going to fade out here into a 0-0 draw. Do you have any other bets for the weekend you want to call out that we didn't get onto today, lads?
No, I mean, other than what's up on the site there, I'm just going to be tailing the La Liga, League One, and Serie A bets, and the EFL. Sorry, Gary. Just avoiding your I haven't read your article yet, but I'll definitely.
A lot of good European football to be tailed on the website, and then there's the EFL.
But cheers, no, yeah, I've nothing beyond that myself now. I don't know if have you looked at anything further than what's up on the site.
No, yeah, I'll be in terms of the European football. I'll be just tailing the guys, the EFL in particular, of course, and then the European the European ones as well. They all look really good this weekend. I mean, they look good most weekends, but they certainly look good this weekend. So I'll be on those, and then we'll be back after the break. At the end of this show, we'll be looking at some of the American football, and there's plenty of that I'll be on as well. including the college football. There's a college football game tonight, so it's well worth heading over to the site and having a look at the article there to see what the bets are. There's a few good ones, and like you mentioned earlier in the show, Gary, we're on a good run there at the minute. So, yeah, that's really it. So I've no real bets picked out that aren't on the site anyway. That's the main thing. We like to kind of.
The main thing to say for the weekend is just back Port Vale, and that's it.
Port Vale, I'll be on them. So,
yeah.
Don't at me if they do so.
Sometimes when you describe these games, I look at that and you think they should be 4-9, and then they're 21-20. Like, how is it so different?
But Port Vale shouldn't be evens. Like, they don't have any really, really significant injuries. And it's second versus 23rd, a team that score at will versus a team that can't defend. Like,
that's the thing. Like, the way you've described it, it sounds like even if they did concede, they'd still go on to win 2-1 or 3-1. Like.
Yeah. And all of them have only won once at home this season. I think 1 win, 1 draw, and then 5 or 6 losses at home this season. So everything just points towards a Port Vale victory. As they were 4-9, I obviously wouldn't be like, oh yeah, they're the bet of the century. But at even money, it just seems.
Like, so are you saying they're the bet of the century? Do we need to get this? We need to edit this clip and make sure that
they are the bet of the century.
Bet of the century. We have 2 comments in as well. We've got one from Valeria, says the channel is great, lads. So we appreciate that input. Anyone who enjoys watching the show. And,
don't forget to subscribe.
Make sure hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it with everybody. That's what we want to do, get the word out there. And then we have Niall Savage in, who is the La Liga expert we've alluded to on the show. He says that a late Levante winner is a long shot. So, well.
It was a bit too long.
Yeah. I think that finished 0-0, so good call there. Suspicion of aftertiming about that comment, Savage. You have to check the time. Did you wait till the match finished up to tell us that it was a long shot? But for anyone who's still with us, Savage will actually be on the show with us next week. I think it's next week. I'm pretty sure you're away, Gary, so we'll have Savage on in your place. So we'll have a bit more.
Slats is away.
Oh, Slats, you're away, sorry. Because you're getting awful slagging this week, Gary.
Thanksgiving winners.
Yeah, so we have a Spanish flavour to the show next week with Savage on there to talk about all things Spanish football. But at the end of the football tonight, guys, we're actually, after getting to the end, it was pretty close to landing the live action ACCA. Both teams to score part came in, Gary's bet came in, and then somehow Bayern didn't win the easiest part of the whole treble. But both teams to score aspect landed for you, Slats, but unlucky overall.
Thanks for clarifying that. It sounded like Ebo put these good bets on, and I just did a 1-7 for Munich to win and managed to lose it.
Yeah.
To be fair, the majority of that bet was for both teams to score, and Munich to go on and win.
You were so confident of it, though. Like, in hindsight, obviously both teams to score was the smart play, because it probably would have been nearly the same price as Bayern to win and both teams to score.
I think it might have been 4-6. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong now. You would feel it was closer to evens if it was 6-5 for Munich.
4-6 to 6-5 is definitely worth taking the Bayern win. Yeah,
I could be wrong. I looked at an awful lot of a lot of markets and a lot of both teams to score in the lead up to the weekend. So maybe it was higher than that. But still, I mean, we were so happy when Augsburg went up 1-0. Little did we know that they were actually going to go on to win the bloody game.
Yeah, although the writing was on the wall with 2-0, we thought that, that was never part of the plan.
No.
A late consolation or an early kind of fluke, but 2-0 is a very different setup. So, like we said, anyone who's still with us, make sure to head over to SportsRunDown.com. We've got Circa, La Liga, Ligue 1, EFL, loads of football content up there. We'll have NFL and college football over the weekend. Some of that's already up. It's worth heading over there and checking out. And like we said, there's actually a college football game on tonight that's worth getting your money on. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break, and then Slats will disappear. Myself and Gary will run through some NFL predictions for the weekend. We usually have Paul join us, but he's not available. So just the two of us, it'll be short and sweet, and we'll run through the NFL board, and we'll make our picks for the Circa Millions. Hopefully get back on track for the quarterly prizes. So thanks to anyone who's been with us for the show. Make sure to like the page, follow. We really appreciate any kind of feedback like that. And Gary said it earlier on. Reach out to us on any social media. We love to hear from people. And we'll be back at the same time next week, 7:30 GMT to 2:30 Eastern. And we'll be.
Don't forget about Tuesday, 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah, Tuesday 10 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. Eastern. We'll have a Thanksgiving special for the NFL. So we'll be taking a short break. We won't end the stream. We'll just put on a video and we'll be back to you very, very shortly. So thank you and good
Nice
night.
one. Cheers.
Hello and welcome back to the second half of the show. So anyone who knows what we do, we change from European football to NFL at this point of the show. Myself and Gary and the SportsRunDown team are entered in the Circa Millions and not quite going to plan at the minute, but we continue on. Hopefully we can pick up a quarterly prize or something. and we make our picks here live on air. So the first game last night was the Patriots-Falcons. I was very tempted to take the Falcons in that one, and I'm not sure why I was tempted to take them. I think it was kind of a contrarian pick, and in the end I couldn't make a case for it, and I'm very, very happy I avoided that banana skin.
I don't think I would have let you take the Falcons now, to be honest.
No, I knew it was never going to happen for this, but in the private competitions, I was close. But we avoided that one anyway. A very comfortable win for the Patriots in the end. So up the rest of the board here, the first game up is the Lions-Browns. So anyone who's not familiar, we'll just run through the games on the screen. We'll give out our thoughts, and then we'll make our picks at the end. So our 5 teams against the spread, and we put them into the Circa Millions entrance. And we're entered into that as just sports rundown. So if you are curious and checking how we're doing, you can check it there. So Gary, the Lions travel to Cleveland, 11-point underdogs. One of the early games, big line there for the Browns. But what do you make of it?
Yeah, look, I mean, the way the Browns performed last week, you'd probably be staying away from it at all costs. But they should have Nick Chubb back this week, and he's still kind of in COVID protocol. And then the Lions are like the third worst ranked defense against the rush. So I think if Chubb is back, the Browns could blow them out of water here. Obviously, money line victory Browns. If against the spread, if I had to pick one, I'd pick the Browns, but I don't think we should put it in here. I think there's just better value further down the slate.
Yeah, that's exactly my take on it. I mean, you'd be out of your mind to back the Lions straight up here, but at the same time, 11 is a lot, and considering it could come in, like you said, it looks like a good matchup for the Browns, but like you said, 11, just, even 10 is very different, you know what I mean? It's a touchdown and a field goal, but 11 is just, it's a lot, and, one or two kind of late scores or even an early score for the Lions, and we're already in trouble. So we both lean the same way there, but it's an easy one to skip, and I think we should move past it pretty swiftly. So the next game up is it's a horrible number, 6.5, but the 49ers travel to Florida to take on the Jaguars. 6.5-point road favorites here. Most of this week I think is home favorites, but road favorites here for the 49ers. I mean, they're having a bit of a tough season, Gary. I know you're a fan, but I mean, I think the Jaguars are the Jaguars. So what do you make of this one?
Yeah, look, I mean, the 49ers really just can't catch a break with injuries. We mentioned last week, there's so many injuries down the roster, especially on defense. And I kind of slated them last week and was like, I expect the Rams to blow them out of water, considering the amount of injuries they had. And then obviously they go and have an unbelievable performance, and a lot of that was defensive related. So again, I think that I put them into my super contest picks. I think it's the most likely victory. I think we should put it in here as well. My only concern would be the Jags' recent results. So you look at them, you got a 2-7, that isn't great. But they beat the Bills 2 weeks ago, holding the Bills to 6 points. And they weren't blown out of water by the Colts. Like, the Colts only beat them by 6 points last week. I think there was a bit of a late comeback there. But the last 2 results, they're playing against teams that you'd expect to be in the playoffs or in playoff contention, and they haven't been blown out of water. So that would be the negative side of taking the -6.5. But I think buoyed by the confidence of last week, the 49ers should win this. I mentioned Elijah Mitchell is touch and go with a broken finger. They think he's going to play, but that would obviously be a loss for the Niners if he couldn't play. But I expect him to play, and I expect the 49ers to cover.
Yeah, I think I kind of wish this game had happened before they beat the Rams, because I think it opened at 2.5 points, and then it very quickly moved to 4.5, and then settled on 6.5. So I mean, anyone who backed them earlier in the week is kind of laughing now. Yeah, I agree with you, everything you said. Like the 49ers can't catch a break at all, but I think this is I think they'll kill them here. Like you said, they're very strong defensive capabilities on the 49ers, and if you look at Jacksonville and you look at, we've talked a lot about Trevor Lawrence, but he's prone to a lot of kind of rash decisions. I think he's got more interceptions than touchdowns this season. And I know you mentioned some good results there, but if you look at the last 3 games for the Jaguars, they scored 7, 9, and 17. Like, even though they beat the Bills and that was a crazy game, I don't know if you can read too much into it. I think the 49ers are averaging about 28 points in the last couple of games. So I think they win. I think they win easily. I think they cover. So I'm with you on it. I know what you say. I get your point. I've put them into my kind of private competition as well. So we've talked a lot off air that we're both doing pretty well, not in the circuit, but then we combine and do worse, the lesser of or less than the sum of our parts in the circuit million. So I think if we both have it picked for the private competition, I think we should go with it. And I just don't see how the Jaguars get any kind of score against the 49ers on Sunday.
Yeah, like I personally, I think they have to go in, but I would have preferred, if it was 3.5, 4.5, it's a certainty. 6.5 starts to get a little bit dodgy. I just had a comment in from Dermot. So Dermot, thanks for joining. Said, evening lads. You said Tim Boyle is also the kind of quarterback for the Lions, so yeah, you need to take that into account. I've no doubt the Browns are going to win. It's just the double-digit spread that's a little bit concerning. I said if Chubb plays against that kind of shaky defense against the rush, then I'll be all over it. But not all over it, but I'd fancy it. There's probably a little bit too many concerns for this competition. I think there's 5 others that stick out.
Yeah, thanks, Dermot, for the comment as always. So the next game up is the Indianapolis Colts travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Interesting. Colts 5-5, Buffalo 3-6. 7 points the Bills are laying at home here, so a touchdown favorite at home. What do you make of this one, Gary?
Yeah, so I've taken the Colts here. I think in the competition was 7.5, if I remember.
I know we snapped the lines earlier for our competition than the circle one, so there's always a bit of a difference.
So yeah, I just think that it's like the Bills have been a bit shaky in recent weeks, especially in the first half of games. So obviously, like they beat the Jets 45-17 last week, but I think 28 or 30 of those points came in the second half. And if you look back through the other games where they weren't that impressive against the Dolphins, against the Jaguars, they were held to kind of 3-6 points in the first half against those teams. So, like, coming off a run of Dolphins, Jags, and Jets, you'd expect them to be 3-0. They're coming off that 2-1 with a lucky performance, I think, as well against the Dolphins. So I think in the Colts here, Colts have been fairly decent in recent weeks. They've had actually a very similar schedule to the Bills, playing the likes of the Jets and Jags in recent weeks. But I think 7 points, they'll hang around like a bad spell. And even though the Bills would probably just edge it on the money line, I'd fancy a Colts +7. A big factor in this game is probably going to be the weather as well. So I must actually look up and see before we put it in what the weather is going to be. But then again, a ground game probably suits the Colts as well. So it's probably not going to be as much of a factor. It's more on the overs, unders that it would be a factor.
Well, you just think, though, with the low scoring game, that 7 becomes more, easier to cover. So I'd probably lean this. Is this a pick for you, or you picked it in the other one? Did you?
I picked it in the other one. I'd pick it here. I'd have no problem with it going in because I said the Bills have just been too shaky for my liking starting games in recent weeks. I don't know whether it's complacency or whether there's just something amiss with the team. But yeah, I just wouldn't be too confident of it. And now, obviously, for their division, they have the Patriots. The Patriots overtake them last night or go level with them last night. They're definitely pushing them all the way. Whereas, like at the start of the season, I think they were 4-11 to win this division. The Bills, they're definitely not that now.
Yeah. I'd agree with you there. I lean the Colts. I didn't pick them I think the Bills are too good to kind of go against, is my feeling there. I do think 7, it's outside the overtime mark for us, which leans in our favor. One thing that did stand out to me was that they're actually both very good against the spread, both of these teams. But the Colts in particular do very well against the spread as underdogs. I think 4 of the last 5 times where they were underdogs, they covered, and they won a couple of those as well. So, I think looking at the Bills, like they win well or they lose. So I think that I'd be inclined to leave it, but you make a good case for the Colts, and I kind of agree with it. I think the Colts would probably cover. I think if they get a couple of scores, they'll keep the Bills within reach, and I can't see them getting run out the door by a big score. So I like it. I would prefer if it was a little bit inside the touchdown, but like I said, we'll see how the rest of the 5 go. If we run out of picks, I'd happily put it in there, but I didn't pick it myself. Dermot tells us that the Bills' run game is awful, so yeah, if the weather forces the ball down, that could be another plus in our favor there if we put this one in. So from a touchdown game to a field goal game, we've got the Dolphins travel to New York to take on the Jets. 2 teams not in the best of shapes. The Dolphins are 3-point road favorites here. Jets +3 at home against Miami. Where do you see this one going, Gary?
Not on my TV anyway, would be the short answer. Yeah, like I think it's probably right. It's a coin toss. Dolphins are probably the right favourites, but it's definitely not going into any of my picks.
Yeah, no. But what are the Jets 2-7? The Dolphins 3-7, something like that. You just can't. I don't even go near it.
One of those teams with 100 point of a spread. Never mind, +3, So
it's what we've said. You can get too smart with this, and you can try and pick certain angles. But in reality, this could go either way. Both of these teams, they've upset people this season, but they're both pretty poor. And whatever way this goes, if we pick it and it goes wrong, we're just going to feel like absolute muppets for even going near it. So
yeah, like if you're choosing between 15 games and this is one of the ones that goes into your picks, you're very bad off, I think so.
Yeah. Or else you know something we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But, we'll go on to the next one then. We'll move on. The Washington football team travel to Carolina to take on the Panthers. They are 3.5-point road dogs. So the Panthers are laying 3.5 at home. So just outside the touchdown mark. I feel like a few weeks ago this would have been a much easier decision to make. But how do you see it going now?
Yeah, I think, if you believe last week's win over the Cardinals, if they can beat the Cardinals by 24 points, you have to believe that they can beat the Redskins or football team by more than 3.5. Yeah. Cam came back with a bang. I loved his I'm back celebration.
Yeah.
McCaffrey's coming back to fitness. Things are starting to look up for the Panthers, whereas the football team haven't really got going this season at all.
Except last week.
Yeah, but I still don't think that, I think the Bucks were more bad than I can't call the Redskins. The football team were that good, but I take the Panthers anyway. I think last week's an anomaly for Washington.
Yeah, I would agree with the anomaly aspect of it. If you look at I'm looking at the results here for Washington. Like they lost by 7, they lost by 14, they lost by 18, they lost by 11. Like that's the 4 results prior to upsetting Tampa Bay. I think they lose badly. Like you said, the Panthers they had a bit of a wobble. I know they lost to the Vikings was it overtime or was it late? They lost anyway. Then they got stuffed by the Giants, stuffed by New England. Things weren't really. It looked like it was beginning to spiral for them. But then the win last week against the Cardinals, they looked good. And like you said, there's a lot of positives there. I think a good road win. They're back home now. I think they'll win comfortably. I think the 3.5 here is probably an overreaction to Washington winning last week. So for me, this was a pick, by the way. The Panthers at 3.5. I'm not sure if it's a pick or lean for you.
Oh no, it was 100% pick. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Oh, so that's a nice simple one. We got two consensus picks so far, if you can use the word consensus when there's just the 2 of us. But we move on now. So from 3.5 line to a 4.5 line. This one, this one seems to have been quite heavily tainted by recent events. The Ravens travel to Chicago to take on the Bears. They're 4.5-point road favorites. So inside 5 here for the Ravens in Chicago. What do you make of that one, Gary?
Yeah, it's another one where I'm actually a bit worried because I look at this and think it's fairly simple. But like for the Bears, they've lost 4 in a row. Khalil Mack is out, I think, with a season-ending injury, but it's definitely going to miss the next few games at a minimum. And that's big for Lamar Jackson. He looks like he's going to start. There's a bit of a doubt, so he looks like he's going to start. If Jackson starts and the Bears can't get the pass rush going, he's going to be able to use his wheels or go through the air. I think you have to take the Ravens all day long.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree. Like, as you know, I have a soft spot for the Bears, and I tend to pick them. I do think they're generally underrated. I think they do better against the spread than people give them credit for. But like you said, those recent losses, I know the one to Pittsburgh was, I mean, they probably should have won that game. They were very unlucky at the end. Some questionable calls from their own sideline, and then from the officials, and they lost by 2. But if you take that 2-point loss, I mean, again, they lost by 11. They lost by 30 something to the Buccaneers. They got, even though it wasn't that high a score, it was still double digits. They got stuffed by Green Bay in reality. Then before that, then they beat Las Vegas. So like they have big wins in them, but then they just seem to, like, that's my hesitation. Like they could kind of, take out the top 5 or 6 teams. They'll beat anyone on the day, but then they lose the next 5 or 6 in a row. But this one looks like it's kind of made for Baltimore to get back on track. If you look at their wins recently, I mean, they lost to the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals, again, could beat anybody, so it's not nothing to be worried about there. And I think that the game in Miami was just a blip. There's no way you think that the Miami are a better team than them. They just had an off day. Like with the Bills, it was just one of those days. We've said it the last 2 weeks. There's been some crazy results. They're not going to stick. It's going to come back to normal. And the fact that this is inside 5 points, it just makes it a simple one to take. I'd be more inclined to back the Bears money line than back them to cover. They're going to upset things here, or just get stuffed. So
yeah, I think that's a very good point. But I think for this, at the lines and with the lines that are available and the other lines that are out there that I think are a bit dodgy, I'd be thinking you need to put the Ravens in here. They're a pick for me.
Okay, yeah, they're a strong lean for me. So we'll see how the rest of the 5 goes. I'd have no problem if this went in. It's one of those ones you leave it out, and then they're 10 points up at halftime, and you just think, yeah, we knew that was going to happen. So it looks like I think if they hadn't lost last week to Miami, it'd be outside a touchdown. I think it'd be 7.5 or even 8. I just think that there's a bit of, we see the lines do react a lot. So yeah, that's a probable one to go in. It's a strong lean for me and a pick for you. So. Here. So the next game up on the list is New Orleans Saints travel take on the Eagles. Eagles are 1.5-point home favorites, which again, not too long ago that would have seemed like a surprising line. I know you got a kind of I wouldn't say a soft spot, Gary, but you rate the Eagles. So how do you see this one going?
Are the Saints not away?
The Saints are away, yeah. Did I say
that?
Wrong?
Sorry. I thought you said the Saints were home favorites. Yeah, I think that the Eagles have been kind of rocking and rolling and starting to get a bit of momentum in recent weeks. Impressed with their win last week against the Broncos.
Yeah.
I think they'll cover 1.5. It's not in my my picks. The Saints have a lot of injuries, so I lean towards the Eagles. But I just think they're kind of an unpredictable team, the Saints. So I don't like really being against them at such short. It's just kind of coin toss game. But I do think the Eagles are on the up and they should cover. I just think I have five better, so they're probably about 6th or 7th on my list.
For me, it's just a skip for the reasons you said, but I just interpret it differently. I think the Eagles are a bit inconsistent. They probably are on the up, but they're still inconsistent. I mean, I don't know, I have the record in front of me, but it seems to be win, loss, win, loss kind of thing. And the Saints are the same. When you expect them to do well, they don't. And when you expect them to do badly, they do well. So I think 1.5 here, for it's a coin toss of a game, but You couldn't call it either way, and I wouldn't go near it at 1.5. So
So
for me, it was just an outright skip.
I see Christopher Burns in here just saying great coverage, lads. Keep up the good work. So thanks for that, Christopher. If you feel like subscribing, that would be great on YouTube. Then Dermo has come in with Alvin Kamara, Ramsek, Armstead out, and Taysom Hill is questionable for the Saints. So he's saying the Eagles are now 2.5 or -2.5, and they could go off -5.5 or more. So that's kind of what I was saying. There are a lot of injuries, and Eagles look to be on the up. So maybe with those injuries, is something we need to reconsider. I think we should leave it as a lean and one to come back to rather than write it off holistically. But the Eagles definitely appeal. In that one, it's just not one of my top 5 at the minute, but it could come in.
No, that's great input to give us there, Donald. We appreciate that. I mean, if it's a 1.5 line and you're getting, or if it's a 5.5 line and we're getting it at 1.5, I mean, it's nearly worth putting in for that alone. It's already good value there. So I agree with you, Gary. We have the 2 picks, which are the Panthers and the 49ers, and then we'll add the Eagles to the Ravens as the potentials that we'll circle back to at the end of the list. So and I'd like to reiterate what Gary said. Christopher Byrne, appreciate the comment. We love a bit of feedback like that. So thanks for letting us know.
Sorry, so before we move on to the next one, there's also a comment on Facebook from Mark Smith, who is replying to a comment from earlier on or from Philip Clark. So he's given a tip for before midnight in the 3:15 at Ascot tomorrow. So that was Philip asking for any horse tips. So anybody watching in, there's a tip from Mark Smith. I haven't looked at that race myself personally, but I might take a look afterwards and see do I agree with Mark or not.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, for that. Yeah, sometimes on the show we get a lot of people commenting in with their own bets and the games they're watching. Tonight was a slightly different kind of vibe. We didn't get actually too many people sharing their own bets, but we do love that. If you're, bets over the weekend or bets that are on at the minute, live bets, let us know what you're backing. We love to cheer them on with you and chat about them. So yeah, throw them in the comments every chance you get. So where were we? Okay, the Texans. Here we go. The Texans travel to Tennessee to take on the Titans, and the Titans are 10-point home favorites, which is either a number that's going to look really easy or look kind of stupid come the end of the weekend. But Gary, where do you see this one going? Tennessee -10 at home to Houston.
Yeah, I think it's a big spread, and as I said, I don't really like double digits, but I think you need to take the Titans here, don't you?
I'm the same. I just have an instinctive I just stay away from those kind of 2 scores. 10 would probably be about the limit for me. So I don't really know. If you look at Tennessee's last results, they have a lot of close games. They beat the Saints by 2, they beat the Colts by 3, they beat Buffalo by 3. But then that's the Saints, the Colts, the Bills. Teams. Yeah, exactly.
But beating the Rams, beating the Saints, beating the Colts, Chiefs.
They stuffed the Chiefs. They stuffed the Chiefs. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Colts are going to be they're playoff contenders. They've beaten them twice this season. So I think you have to think that the Titans are for real. Obviously, seen AJ or Julio Jones is on IR, I think, now with hamstring injury. So that's obviously not great, but they've got other kind of weapons there through the air. I think you have to put them in here. If you look at the Texans this season, I think it's probably only 3 occasions they've got within 10 points in their game. So even on that basis,
you look at their last 3, right? So they put up good showings against New England and the Rams. I mean, they still lost both of them. They lost 25-22 to New England, but that was in Houston, and they lost 38-22 to the Rams in Houston as well. But if you look at their last 3 road games, they scored 9, 5, and 3 against the Colts, the Cardinals, and the Dolphins. So I mean, even if you combine those 3 scores and you get that on Sunday,
I think there was a duck egg in there, probably either the one game before that or 2 games before that. So yeah, you're right. They're just not scoring on the road. So I don't think we should overcomplicate it. I think we just go
yeah, you're right. The previous road
the last couple of weeks, you can't be too confident with the NFL. But the Titans should win on the money line. They should win by a touchdown. Can they win by more than a touchdown and a field goal? Well, I think they can. I think we just we put it in and move on would be my thinking.
Yeah, I agree with you about the complication line. Don't need to overthink it. Like we said, they scored 9, 5, 3, and 0 their last 4 road games. I mean, any of those, even all those combined, the Titans covered by 10. So I think that's a pick. So that's both of us agreed on that one, and we put that in and move on. So from a huge line to a small line, the Green Bay Packers travel not too far to Minnesota, take on the Vikings, and they're road favourites 1.5 points. So the Vikings picking up 1.5 points at home to Green Bay. So what are your thoughts on this one, Gary? You know where I stand on these small lines, but what do you think?
So obviously Aaron Rodgers is looking like he's going to be back, which is a positive for the Packers. But then you have Aaron Jones out, which obviously is a good bit of a negative there. I think, to go personally, I think the line is probably about right. I'd actually probably go with the Vikings if I had to pick one. I think there's probably less question marks about the team injuries-wise. And home advantage, you said, this is kind of a derby game. I'd be leaving out of our picks, but I'd lean towards the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I lean the Vikings, but I don't put in 1.5 or those inside the touchdown lines unless I'm incredibly confident on one of the teams. Like you said, this could, it's like a derby game, to use that phrase again. They could, either team could, go on a run here and beat up the other one, but I just don't see it. It'll probably stay close. It could be whoever has the last possession wins the game kind of game. I know the Vikings have a lot of close games. I know they beat the Panthers in overtime. They lost to the Ravens in overtime. They won a game by, they lost to the Cowboys by about a field goal. They beat Detroit by about the same. Like, they're all really close games, one way or the other. So, yeah,
the divisional contests as well are just hard to call. I think anyway. So,
yeah, so I think we agree and we just move straight on. So from that to another small line here, that the Bengals 1 point road favourites against the Raiders. -1, Raiders +1 at home. Again, kind of a curious line. If you looked at it a few weeks ago, what do you make of it, Gary? 1 point home road favourites. Sorry, the Cincinnati.
Yeah, so I was disappointed with the Bengals last week, and then obviously you had to be massively disappointed with them the week before against the Jets. So I don't know whether you can trust them to, coming off back-to-back defeats, a road game against a Raiders team who have been fairly decent this season. 2 5-4 teams. I think they're 2 even match teams. I think the Bengals will kind of kick themselves over the results the last couple of weeks because, 2 victories there, you put yourself in a very good position. Now they're kind of scrambling. My heart would say the Bengals, and my head just says leave this one alone.
Yeah, well, for the same reason as the last game, 1 point, the bookies can't really separate these two. I'm very happy to leave it alone. You're saying heart, I'm the same. I think, but I also want the Bengals to win comfortably here. I think they will, but you mentioned before I'm a bit of a fanboy when it comes to Burrow, and I just think that maybe I'm seeing it a little bit biased. But like you said, they've had a couple of results that maybe were sort of self-inflicted losses. They were basically could have had 1 foot in the playoffs. Now they're looking at it's looking very differently. I mean, they're 5-4. It's all in the balance, and 3 point loss to Green Bay, 3 point loss to the Jets, and now all of a sudden they're kind of in trouble. And like you said, in that game was last week. Last week was a car crash. So I think that they'll put on a show here and they'll win comfortably. But like you said, they've lost 2 on the bounce. It's hard to. I mean, the Raiders have lost 2 on the bounce as well, but you couldn't. I'm not even plugging them either. I'm just saying stay away from it. If you look at the Raiders' last few results, like the losses, they beat the Eagles. We've said that they're inconsistent. They beat the Broncos. We know they're not maybe as good as they looked at the start of the season. They've lost to the Giants and the Bears. I mean, that's not anything to be proud of, I know. And then they got stuffed by the Chiefs. So I'm beginning to wonder, there's a lot of doubts there about Las Vegas, and maybe the off-field issues are coming home to roost, so to speak. So I would lean. I'd have quite a serious lean towards the Bengals, but in this competition, I'm happy to leave a 1 point game alone. So Right, I think that one won't make the cut. The next game up is the Cardinals and the Seahawks. 2 points, road favourites. Arizona travel to Seattle. Seahawks probably looking a little bit better than they were before, but picking up 2 points at home here. So how do you see this one going, Gary?
Yeah, I think this is going to be another close game. And if you knew whether Kyler Murray was going to play, I think he's a game time decision. So if he played, there's probably a bit of value in the -2 for the Cardinals. If he doesn't play, I think it's the other side. The Seahawks at home should take it. It's very much going to be, can Russell Wilson kind of break down the Cardinals defense? That Cardinals defense have been fairly good this season. They're ranked top 10 in total defense. They're pretty good against the pass. So if they're forcing Wilson to scramble, he'll have to be at his best. Obviously, he's just back in the team as well. So I think that's going to be the key battle here. But with that and not knowing how it's going to come out, obviously, and with the question mark over Murray, again, I'd probably leave it. If you put a gun to my head and said choose, I'd say the Seahawks, a home field advantage in these divisional games, bound to get fairly cold in Seattle soon as well. So those kind of things just edge in the Seahawks' favour. But for our top 5, I'd leave it out.
Yeah, I mean, the weather is one thing for sure that's worth thinking about. But like you said, there's so many questions around both quarterbacks. Will they be playing or will they be back to their best? And divisional game, like you pointed out, it just doesn't make. There's no value in it for me. Like you said, one of the sides of those lines will look like value come Monday morning, but I think now it's not worth putting in. So happy to skip as well. So we'll move on from that to another high profile game. The Cowboys travel to Kansas City, take on the Chiefs. And again, if you had paused the clock anytime up until about a week or two ago, the Chiefs would have, had a very different line here. The Chiefs are 2.5 point favorites here. What do you think of this one, Gary? I know you were cold on the Cowboys, then you were a little bit hot on them again. Where do you see this one going? 2.5 points they're picking up on the road.
Like, I just can't predict the Cowboys. You get a week like last week where they're absolutely on fire, and then you have a week like the week before when they kind of bombed against was it the Broncos?
The Broncos, yeah.
So yeah, it's very much which team turns up, and then you look at the Falcons last night, against the Patriots at home, and they were shocking as well. So it's like, are the Falcons making the Cowboys look very good, or are they actually just ordinary and being made look good, or are they actually an explosive team? So a team that I've struggled all season, I've used had to get my kind of put my finger on. I know Amari Cooper is going to be out. I think he has COVID and he's not vaccinated, so he's definitely going to be out. I can see the Chiefs pulling off a win here. And yeah, I would probably put the Chiefs in as a pick here. It's
our first clash. It's our first clash of opinions on things. I think the Cowboys beat them well. The Chiefs, they had what? They got back on track. They beat Green Bay without Rodgers, so that counts for nothing. I mean, who they beat before that? They beat the Giants and then Las Vegas, and we just went through the Raiders. Like, the Raiders they're not as good as they looked earlier in the season. You look at the teams that they've beaten; they've only got a handful of wins against reasonable teams. The rest of them are games you would expect them to win. You look at the Cowboys; they've beaten the Chargers, they've beaten the Patriots, they've beaten the Vikings. I mean, that Denver game was. Looking at the Atlanta one after that, like you said, you got a massive asterisk or two beside the win against Atlanta. You only beat what's in front of you, and they, if you look at that schedule, that Denver game looks like that. The results, that Denver game looks like a blip. And even watching it, they just didn't look. I watched that game live, and they just didn't look turned on for it. I think they started to believe in their own ability a bit too much. They just turned up expecting to win and win well, and it just. They got sucker punched early on and never really got back into it. So yeah,
that's kind of one of my reasons for looking at taking the Chiefs here. Like, in all, like, unless something unbelievable happens, like if that gets injured or something like that. But apart from that, like the Cowboys are going to win their division. They're basically in the playoffs. You can see them kind of taking foot off the gas, going in against a Kansas City team who, like in probably one of the tightest divisions in football here in the AFC West. Like is there 2 teams 1 game behind them? So like the Chiefs need to win, and I think that's going to come down to it. -2.5 is a decent line. Chiefs win by a field goal, you're in. I think it's worth taking, but if we're at opposites, we should probably leave it out. But I would take it anyway.
Yeah, you look at the Chiefs; they've been so bad. I mean, they've been the favorite in every single game they've played this season, and I think they've covered 2, maybe 3. Like I think they're just still overrated based on their historical, their last 2 or 3 years. I just don't think if you look at all that, you just look. I know,
but you're getting into the business game. Like if you look historically through the NFL, like it's November, December, January, where the big teams start to play. So this is the business end. This is when you need to be on it. This is when the big players show up, and the Chiefs are trending that way. 3 wins on the spin, 4 out of the last 5. Starting to get their act together. We know that they've got talent, starting to get a few players back from injury as well. I think it's starting to trend upwards with the Chiefs, and that's why I picked them. But I said if we're against each other here, and we've got other ones that we agree on, we're probably best just going with that.
Yeah, I think we already nearly have 5 anyway, so we'll skip it and move on because we're on opposite sides. So we move on now to the late game, or the second late game, the Steelers and the Chargers. So Steelers travel to Los Angeles. They are 6.5-point road underdogs. The Chargers laying 6.5 at home. So where do you see this one going, guys?
Like, I like the Chargers, but they haven't really impressed me over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, lost last week against the Vikings, beat a decent Eagles team, were terrible against the Ravens when they played them a while ago. They're a bit up and down, so I'm not too sure what to make of them. Again, they're a team that need to win. They're in the same division as the Chiefs, need to win to keep the pressure on there. I think they will win here. I've been saying for a while that the Steelers, have been waiting for them to break out, and I think that they're explosive or whatever, but I'm kind of just coming around to the realization that they're just not a very, very good team. They have TJ Watt out. I think the Chargers, but I think 6.5 is probably a bit too much. I could see it being probably a 4 or 5 point victory for the Chargers, fairly close early on, and then the Chargers should pull away, would be the way I'd see it. But again, I don't think it's one for the picks here.
Yeah, kind of the same. I lean the Chargers, but I mean the Steelers have I think they tied last week. I think they won 4 in a row before that, and like you said, the Chargers, I think they've lost. They got stuffed by Baltimore, lost to New England. I think they beat Philadelphia and then lost to Minnesota again. Like there's nothing there that would give you confidence. They should win. I mean, if they're going to win, 6.5 looks reasonable, but yeah, no real desire to go either side of this game. So happy to skip straight past it. And that moves us on to the last game of the weekend. So the Giants take on the Buccaneers, 11 flat. The Bucs are laying 11 points here at home against the Giants on, I presume that's going to be Monday Night Football. So it's a monster line. Are the Bucs going to bounce back, Gary?
I don't think so. Like, they have to bounce back from back-to-back losses. And they've got a good few injuries stacking up. Like the players that probably will play, like Chris Godwin. But they've other players like Antonio Brown. I know he's listed as questionable, but like there's all that hullabaloo going around about, I don't know if you've seen the vaccine card. So basically he's been accused of faking his vaccine card. So he's saying he's vaccinated, but he's not vaccinated. So there's I just don't think you need that kind of stuff when you're struggling for a little bit of form. So I would think that's a negative. I think 11 points is big. I think that the Giants have been fairly reasonable in recent weeks. Victories over the Panthers, victories over the Raiders, and then they weren't beaten that much by the Chiefs. So
3 points.
I think that's 11 points on the board. They have the ability to score 14, maybe 21 points here, maybe 20 points. You're looking for the Bucks to put up over 40 points if they can do that.
Over 30, I think, if you're
over 30 points if you do that. So yeah, I'd probably take the Giants here.
Yeah, that was my instinct when I looked at it. I just leaned the Giants. I thought the line is very high, and like you said, back-to-back losses. Okay, the Giants probably aren't as good as the Saints, but then they lost to Washington as well. I would lean the Giants, but it's just hard to know. How many bad games will a team with Brady in them have? So I think that they could also bounce back. One thing that did stand out to me was though that any of the lines above 10 for the Bucks, they've covered them all so far. So I mean, the teams that they're much better than, they're just taking care of business. The kind of asterisk there, I suppose, is Washington. I don't know. I think we're 9-point favorites in that one, but they should have obviously done a lot better. For me, I'd lean the Giants, but I'd probably leave it out at the same time. My thinking though was that I think I might have put it in one of the competitions was that I think there'd be we see the money come out. I think it'll be 85-90% on Tampa Bay, which usually indicates that the line is moved a bit and probably slightly too generous in terms of if you're backing the Giants. So I wouldn't have an issue with the Giants going in, but I haven't picked it either. Is my stance.
Yeah, and the Giants. So the Giants have been giving up a lot of yards per game, but they haven't been giving up that many points.
Bend don't break.
So I think they're not one of these teams that are giving up 30 points a game like the likes of the Falcons and the Jets and teams like that. They're giving up kind of low 20s or medium.
If I look through it there, yeah. They're going backwards in their most recent game, 16, 17, 3, 38 against the Rams, 44 against Dallas, but they're incredible. Go back before that, 21, 17. So they're not getting, take out the Rams and Dallas who have, explosivity, potential. They're not getting stuffed, And
I think you can make a good case for them based on that. Now, obviously, you can't take averages or whatever because they're playing an above average team or definitely above average quarterback who has weapons available. But
Tampa Bay aren't, they're not blowing teams away. The only two teams worse against the spread than the Bucks are the Jets and Washington. They're the third worst team against the spread.
Grant, are we going to throw it in as a Monday Night Football treat? So
a late weekend one. Yeah. Okay. So that's looking like that's the last game. So let's do a quick recap.
We'll put that as a lean. We'll put that as a lean.
Yeah. So if that is a lean, we've got a pick on the 49ers, a pick on the Panthers, and a heavy lean on the Eagles, thanks to the info from Dermot. And then we also have a lean on the Ravens and a lean on the Colts, but we're not really sure about that one. And then we have this. So, I mean, based on that list, this has a good chance of going in. 49ers and Panthers are straight in. I'm happy to take the Eagles based on the double lean and then the info from Dermot.
Yeah, I think so. I'd say I think Panthers, 49ers, Eagles, Ravens, and then choose between Colts, Giants, probably Colts and Giants. Choose between.
Yeah. So, did we skip the Titans there, or did I not call them out?
Oh, we did skip the Titans. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's the 49ers, the Ravens, and the Titans. So they are in for sure because they were three picks. So then it's between the Ravens, Eagles, and Giants. We need two.
Yeah, I think that I would go Ravens and Eagles.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. Like,
we were talking ourselves into the Giants more than actually picking it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think the Bills-Colts game, even though I do think the Colts are big, it's probably one to leave alone. I have the Colts in my personal picks anyway, so I'll be happy with that.
Of that list, including the Giants, the Colts would be my least favourite to go in there. I agree with you, it's probably the right call, but just doesn't feel right going against the Bills there at home. So, okay, so that's it. The Panthers, the 49ers, the Ravens, the Eagles, and the Titans in no particular order. And then the Giants and the Colts nearly made the cut, but not quite. So that's where we are.
Yeah, sounds like a plan anyway. So I think that's probably us wrapped up for tonight, isn't it?
That is it for tonight. I actually forget which one of the college football games is on tonight, but if you check out SportsRunDown.com, you'll be able to see. I think it's either Arizona or Cincinnati are playing tonight, and I've got a good pick in that game, so it's worth checking that one out. Sometimes people have commented to me that they miss some of the games because they're Friday night, so there is a Friday night game there worth checking out. And cool. So we get those picks in, and thanks everyone who stuck around for the second half of the show. We appreciate the comments in. Christopher, Dermot, Mark on Facebook as well. Yeah, we always appreciate the feedback. So we'll be back at the same time next week, 7:30 p.m. GBP or GMT, and I'm getting tired. We're quite late.
Day job coming out, and you're there.
Yeah, and what would that be then? 2:30 USD the way I'm talking for anyone on that side of the ocean. So we'll be back. It'll be the two of us here, and our Spanish football expert Savage will be joining us next week. He'll be making his stream debut, so we will be looking forward to seeing you then. And like we said, make sure to comment, like, subscribe. We really appreciate that kind of input. So hope you enjoyed the show, and good night.
Yeah, cheers guys.